This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, summer scholars. It's July 20th, the start of our second week. We're going to proceed with a brain teaser. It's a critical reflective thinking exercise. And I'm going to bring one question up. It's a short question. And if you know the answer, type the answer quickly in the chat. Okay, are you ready? There's the question. A bat and a ball cost $1.10. The bat costs $1, $1 more than the ball. How much does the ball cost? If you know the answer, type it in the chat. Okay, got a couple answers. We only have 4 responses. Here we go, here we go. So again, a bat and a ball costs $1.10. The bat costs $1 more than the ball. How much does the ball cost? This is kind of, if you were having an exam and you had one question, this would be considered a do or die test. Either you get it right or you get it wrong. Do we have any more responses recording before I reveal the answer? Okay, I'm going to say, if you don't have any more responses, if everyone has responded, I'm going to reveal the answer. Are you ready? Type yes if you're ready. All right. The answer is 5 cents. So we had one correct answer, and that was Patricia.
Right.
So Patricia, can you share with us how you got that answer? Patricia?
I don't really have a specific answer.
So did you guess and you just guessed right?
Yes.
Okay, well, you know what? Sometimes a best guesstimate gets you the correct answer, honestly.
Yeah, because nobody said 5, so I was like, try 5. So I just.
All right, well, there's lessons learned in this, okay? At the end of the day, yes, everyone else said 10 cents. And 10 cents, honestly, is the tendency when you're doing this type of exercise, because you hear right off the bat $1 more than the bat is $1 more than the ball, so the ball must be 10 cents. But if you think through the critical reflective piece of it, then that would suggest that if the ball costs 5 cents and the bat is $1 more than the ball, then the bat actually costs $1.05. Does that make sense? Can someone else kind of re-explain it so that I understand that you understand? Any courageous individual this morning? It's just a brain teaser.
Yeah, the total cost is $1.10. So if the bat cost $1 more, it would be 5 cents for the ball because the bat would be $1.05.
All right. Very good. Was that Brandon or Edward?
Edward.
Edward. Okay. You know what? Let me exit my chat because I can't see anybody. All right, Edward, thank you. Thank you so much for restating the details of the response. But this just suggests that sometimes, you can go out on a limb and go against what everybody else is saying because everyone was aligning with that 10 cents thinking, as Patricia did. However, Patricia, you had no idea that you even had the right answer. So,
Yes.
On a fluke, you would have gotten 100 and everybody else would have gotten an F. But at the end of the day, sometimes being right is okay. Okay. You'll take it. But more importantly, you need to understand why you have the right answer. So that's the purpose of this exercise.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So next, what we're going to do this morning, this whole week is really about assessment and your personal assessments. And so, according to our handy dandy schedule, we're going to be doing the learning styles assessment, which is called the LASSI. And the LASSI is the Learning and Study Strategies Inventory. And so I purchased a subscription so that each student would be able to go in and actually take the assessment. So on your computer, if you could please, and I also placed all of this information in the chat, so you have the link in the chat. If you go directly to the chat, you can click right on the www.collegelassie.com. So right now, I want you all to take the College Lassie assessment. It's about 60 questions, and that will give me access to your learning and study strategies. And what this will do is it'll help inform some best practices for you, when it comes to tutoring, how you're going to learn in class, and just your general attitude towards your college education. But this will help during your advising appointments, your tutoring sessions, and also when you're in the classroom, you'll understand how your professor's teaching style gels with your learning style. And if it's not in alignment, how you can best adjust it so that way you can be successful in class. So does everyone see the link? You might have to scroll up the chat. It was the first thing I typed in there at 9:44. And I believe, Jabari, if you are in the car, you won't be able to do it unless you're doing it on your phone. So you must not be driving if you're in the car. But if you're unable to take it right now, Jabari, you can do it later because this session is being recorded, so it'll step you through the process. Okay. So I think is that a yes, that everybody is in the link and you're able to access the assessment?
Christy isn't yet.
Okay, I see a no for Christy, a no for Eileen.
Oh, a no for Vanessa.
You should be able to click the link right from the chat and then you won't have to type it. Click it right from the chat box, and then all you have to do is scroll down. There'll be two separate boxes. Here, I will bring it up on my screen also. So I just click the link, and if you scroll down, you can answer these because they want you to understand what the statements represent. Not at all typical to me, not very typical of me, somewhat typical of me, fairly typical of me, and very much typical of me, so that you know and understand the scale, the Likert scale, and you're going to fill in the first administration right here. That's first block. And if you're there, you're going to type in the school number, 81929. And your username, everyone, I guess, has the same username. AXEZ. And password is YEWW. And then you'll click submit. I'm not going to click submit because I don't want to submit an assessment.
Tiffany, could you just type those things into the chat box? The school
They're all
number,
in the
the
chat box
username,
already.
password?
It's all in the
No,
chat
but-
box. Yep, you have to scroll up. It's the first thing
But
that I
some people
typed in.
some people came in late. They can't see what you typed in before they came in.
In the chat box? Really?
Yes. Yeah.
I thought you could scroll
I
up.
came in after you. I can't see any of it.
Oh no.
Really?
All right.
I
here.
can.
Because you were there when she got there. If you were not there when you typed it in, if the student wasn't there when you typed it in, it's not available to them.
Oh, okay, no problem. Look, I'll copy and paste it and right back in again.
Perfect. Thank you.
There we go. All right. It's in there now, right? Can you see it? Can everyone see it now? Okay. All right, so Barbara, Lisa, we will just wait for the students to finish their survey. Once you complete the survey, just type in the chat done. And Lisa, once the students have all completed, that wraps up my session for this morning, because then I'll have to go through later this evening and review their results so that we can have a conversation about it at a later date. So that means you'll be able to start your session early.
Okay. Juliana is saying she can't get in.
Juliana, did you click the link in the chat? You can always copy and paste the link in your browser so that way you don't have to type it.
Whoever is study on the chat box, could you just write your name in for me so I can, for attendance? Thank you.
Yeah, I wonder if that's Melanie. I mean, not Melanie, Megan.
Yeah, I don't know who it is.
Juliana, I'm sorry. Juliana clicked on the link and she's saying that it's saying that the information was incorrect.
All right, let me get out of this. Hold on. All right, Lisa, I just clicked on the link that it put in there and it's fine. Juliana, click the link that Lisa Stahl has in the chat. Give that a try. And let us know if it works. And the username, here, I'll go back in and type it in too. School ID 81929. And I'm sharing my screen, so you should be able to see this. AXPZ is the username, and the password will show up as asterisk, but it is YEWW, and then click submit. And yes, good question, Jabari. You must complete all 60 questions. Juliana, you click the link in Lisa's link in the chat where Lisa put the link. Turn your mic on so I can talk to you.
Yes, I clicked the link.
And it's telling you that what the information is incorrect.
Yes, every single time I'm putting in the stuff that you just said, it's saying that it's incorrect.
Okay, I don't
Wait, do you
want you
get
to
to the
type
site?
it in. I just want you to click the link within the chat. Don't type it in.
I clicked the link.
Juliana, are you getting to the page, but then the school number and username and that stuff is incorrect?
Yes.
All right, because
Okay.
I was just there and I clicked it and it took me to where I can put my name, first name, last name, ID. So, are you an Explorer or Google Chrome?
I'm on my phone.
Okay, but I think
That's a problem.
Jabari is on his phone too, so.
Well,
But Juliana,
I don't know.
can you get on the laptop?
Give me 1 second.
All right, looks like we have a few students who are done. Melanie, Dina, Brianna, Edward. Okay, so it didn't take long at all. Brandon. Okay. I see study. Whoever study is, study put done. But study, can you put your name, your first and last name, so we know who you are? All right, Shalamon's done. Getting closer. Leah's done. Juliana, have you made any progress?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, whoever's logged in this study, Barbara still has no idea who you are, and neither do I. Is it Madison or Megan Davis? All right, Jabari's done. Thank you.
Mhm.
Nimrose, thank you. Okay, Jabari, we'll see you in a bit. Okay, Vanessa's done. Jabari's done. So about 13 of you are complete. We're waiting for about 6. Lisa, I unmuted you.
Well, thank you.
You were making noise before.
I was?
Yep, you were the only one unmuted, so I could hear some feedback or something.
All I'm doing is sitting here.
I don't know.
Maybe it's my typing? I don't know. My computer's fairly quiet. I do have my air conditioner on in the room though. Because it's flipping hot outside.
No, I know. I haven't been out, but it was hot yesterday. It was like 97, I think. It's crazy.
And I decided to go out and wash all 3 of our cars yesterday.
Oh my gosh, you're crazy.
Mine, Sonia's, and my son's. So well, you know what? I'm like, you know what? If it's gonna be this hot out, I want to get a little bit of sun, some vitamin D. Might as well wash the car, because then at least it involves water, you know?
Right. Get a little cool down.
Exactly.
Well,
I
it
still didn't
is.
get much color.
No, you didn't stay out long enough.
I was out there for almost 3 hours.
Oh my gosh. Okay. You must have had the sunscreen 50 on.
I had no sunscreen on. I think though I was in the shade a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
so I think that did it.
Okay. Well, it's 10:32. Lisa, unless you want to wait a few more minutes for a couple more of them to complete, I can make you the presenter and
Okay, because I have a couple of things I wanted to talk about beforehand anyway, so if you want to go
Okay.
ahead, we can do that.
awesome. Let me do
I also
that.
want to get
Let me
into
make
Sun
you,
Gauge.
I'm going to make you an organizer so that way you can take control of the screen. I will unshare my screen. There we go. All right, it's all you.
Ha ha ha. So I muted myself and I didn't realize it, and I've been talking to y'all this whole time.
Oh my gosh.
And then I was like, hello, anyone there? And nobody's responding, so I'm like, oh crap, am I talking to myself? And then I realized I had muted myself. So it was a beautiful thing. South Carolina is probably hotter right now than Jersey is, Jabari, correct? Can you hear me, guys?
I can hear you.
All right, maybe he walked away. I was
Well,
just
no, he's
imagining.
driving. He's driving. I think he's in the car driving.
Hot down there. Hot, hot, hot. All right, so I just wanted to tell you guys, or talk to you guys about a couple of different things before I get into the actual, yay, Christy's done. Before I get into the actual, today's actual thingy-mabobber. But I can't log into Cengage, so I'm going to have a hard time showing you guys what I wanted to show you. So, one thing I did want to talk about, though, is the other day we were talking about emailing professors and emailing people at the college. Keep in mind, when you get an email back from your professor or somebody at the college, make sure you respond again to them or respond to their response saying, you know, at least like, thank you, or okay, I understand, or something like that. Because if you don't do that, we have no idea whether or not you received the email, read the email, and understood what we put in the email. So I know for me, that leaves me going, okay, I know I sent this email, the student hasn't responded, and so then I don't know if everything's been taken care of, if they understand what's going on. So just make sure you send a follow-up response, and if the response you get from the professor or the staff member doesn't make sense to you, make sure you tell them that, like, I hear what you're saying, but I still don't understand. Because I'm always curious when I don't get follow-up from students, did the student really understand what I was trying to say? Is everything clear now? You know, that's what we wonder when we don't hear back from you guys. All right, so let me try going in on Cengage on this one. I think I have it saved on there. No, so for whatever reason, I can't get into Cengage, guys. Yay! Tiffany, can you get into Cengage on your end?
Me? You want me to try?
Yeah, just go to cengage.com and then try to log in, even if you don't remember your login, and see what happens.
How about that?
Yeah, I can
Because
get
I
in.
probably don't. Cengage.com.
Yeah, just cengage.com. So it's not my internet because I can pull up things like the college website. So it's not my internet. So we might have to send in a ticket, Tiffany. Marianne's on vacation, so I'm trying to think of who we should send it to.
I might have the liaison person. Jeez.
Yeah, you might want to send them an email and let them know that. Let me see. Let me try Firefox. Where's Firefox?
Yeah, I might have to go into the other one too.
Do I have Firefox on here? Mozilla Firefox. Crap, I don't have Firefox on here.
You don't?
No, you know what? This is my personal laptop, so I only use Chrome.
Oh, let me try. Yeah. Internet Explorer is Firefox, right?
No, Internet Explorer, by the way, will not work well with Cengage. You want to use Firefox or Mozilla or Chrome. And even if you have like a MacBook or anything like that, you can still use Chrome or Firefox. It's just a download. I mean, I could download it quick, but I really wanted to show you guys just a little bit about your textbook.
I don't know what's happening.
Now I'm not Nope. Now everything's breaking down on my end. Hopefully I can at least get through the presentation. Dun, 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 dun. But you're not having any troubles hearing me, right? I'm not breaking up or anything?
No, I can hear you fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what the heck's happening here.
All right, well, let me go on to the presentation because most of that is just talking with you guys and showing you some stuff about your prompts for assignments and for discussion boards. And then maybe after that, I can do a quick check and see if I'm able to open up Chrome. But Tiffany, if you were getting an error message on your end, then the issue with Cengage is bigger than just me. So definitely try to reach out to your liaison and see if they can give you some answers.
Yeah.
Because that's just weird. But now none of my internet's working, but at least I can still talk to you guys apparently. All right, so today I want to talk to you guys about understanding your assignment, deconstructing the prompt. So basically, for every assignment you have, your discussion boards, a paper, even just a quick class assignment, you will have some kind of prompt. And the prompt is what tells you what it is you need to do and what's expected from you. Now, I know Sarah George talked to you a little bit about this, about the prompt, and you have to read it carefully because it tells you what it is you're going to be doing. I had Tiffany include in your box, your study box, I hope.
Oh, no, Lisa, just so you know, the copy machines on campus are just not working. So I had about 150 paper jams. So I couldn't print anything. Like, literally, it's the humidity. Awesome. No, it's the humidity in the building. Yeah.
You have to ruffle the paper. I get it. Believe me.
Yep.
So every year, every summer, the air conditioning goes out in the library area of the college every year for at least a week. So I completely understand.
Yes.
Barbara will remember one summer she had units brought in to help circulate air in the ISC when she was in the ISC. Do you remember that, Barbara? Apparently not. But yeah, the air conditioning was out for like 2 weeks. It happens every summer in the library. So I understand the humidity printing issue.
Yes.
Very well. So do you still have the link maybe, or I can send you the link, Tiffany, and maybe you can send it out to them. But I wanted you all to have this handout, and it's from the Writing Center at University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and it describes what you need to look at when you're looking at an assignment prompt. Okay, and so much of what I have taken and much of what I want to show you comes from this document. That way you have something tangible that you can refer back to, and that way You know, if you ever get stuck, you can go back and look at it and say, okay, what is it that I'm supposed to be reading or looking at in regards to the prompt? So the first, well, and again, this is based on the worksheet that you're supposed to have, but you don't have, but you will have, and that is understanding what that assignment is. And we were talking about this the other day, right, where Sarah George was talking about how responses like this on the discussion board can really get tedious and are really something that most college students do. It looks something like this. So Emily's response to the discussion board was, "The sky is blue." And this other person responded, "Emily, I totally agree with what you said. I like how you used the color blue as a form of imagery to describe the sky. That was such a powerful statement." He said, "Emily." So basically, it's a lot of bullshit, right? I mean, that's not really a response. That's all BS, you know. And this is trying to fill up the word count on the discussion board, you know, in such a way that you're also uplifting Emily and her ideas, and you're not presenting any conflict. And yeah, it's not helpful if you guys respond like this. So I want to ask you guys, and you can respond in chat, and Tiffany can let me know the answers. Why do professors require that you participate in discussion boards and require that you do assignments? Any answer, just give me an answer.
Hold on, let me see. Oh, nobody's answered yet.
Once
Guys.
Brianna said attendance. Eileen says, see if you understand the content. Make
Good
sure you
job.
understand the information and challenge your views. Good one. Better understanding.
Absolutely. These are all great answers. And so let me ask you this. Does this response to somebody else's post, granted Emily's response kind of sucked too, but I mean in general, does this kind of response, does that show any of that stuff, that you're understanding what you're doing, or that, you know, you are looking at it in a new way? Does this do any of that, this kind of response? Yes or no? I think y'all know the answer, right? I'm going for it now.
No.
Right. It's not helping the discussion. It's not contributing something to it. And that's one of the reasons we have the online discussion board, is it really is supposed to be a back and forth between you and other students and even your professor sometimes. Now, when I teach a class, I respond to everybody's discussion board. That's just me. I want to interact with my students. So when I'm teaching an online class, I'm always discussing back and forth and trying to, you know, interact with my students. But not all professors do that, because some of them are teaching like 4 or 5 online classes at the same time. And if each class has like 30 people in it, could you imagine having to respond to all those discussion boards? It's crazy. So sometimes they'll pick and choose people to respond to, and it's not personal. It's just maybe something struck them about an answer or something like that. So don't be disappointed if your professor doesn't always respond personally to your discussion board. That does not mean you're doing anything wrong. Okay, that just means that their time has to be, you know, broken up into many different areas. So keep that in mind when you're doing discussion boards. But the main reason that we have you do things like discussion boards and assignments is because part of learning, and this is something that we've learned, that educators have learned over the last 10 to 15 years, is that learning cannot just be somebody standing in front of you lecturing and telling you a bunch of facts. Okay? For students and other people to learn, you need to actually do something. And sometimes that doing, if you're in the classroom, might be a project. It might be a group project. It might be a presentation. But when you're when you're in an online classroom, that can be really hard. So the stuff that you have to do to learn includes the discussion boards and the papers and the assignments. The professor wants you to do something actively, even if it's writing, but to help you to learn. And the third reason that they put you know, all this stuff on there is because you, maybe not personally, but you're paying money to go to school. The government says that to compensate you for the money that is paid for your education, you need to be given a certain amount of time in a classroom and a certain amount of work and a certain amount of participation. Otherwise, you're not getting your money's worth. Now, I've heard students argue, well, if I'm paying for it, why should I have to do it? Well, because in the end, all these classes are going to give you a grade of some kind. And I'm constantly telling students this when I talk to them. You're at a point in your life where you're going to college because you want to do something bigger and better, right? Yes? No? I'm going to imagine that you're not going to college just to, you know, spend some time doing something. You're here for a reason. And the majority of you are probably only here at Warren for a short period of time before you go on to something bigger. Now, if you are planning to transfer from Warren County to a bigger school or to a four-year school or into a certain program like the nursing program, the one thing you need to understand from day one is that your grades in class absolutely matter. Okay, so if you get an A in a class, that's a 4.0. If you get a B, that's a 3.0, C, 2.0, so on and so on. To be able to transfer into other programs at other schools, your cumulative GPA here is going to matter on whether or not you get into those other schools. So I have two sons, right? And they're old as crap. They just turned 30 and 29. They're still old. Oh my God. It makes me feel. But throughout their high school years, they did not get very good grades at all. Not at all. And I kept asking them because I knew they were smarter than their grades. I said, what's going on? You know, you're not being challenged. Or they're like, no. And I said, well, what's going on? They said, both of them said independently of each other, well, my grades in high school don't count. They don't really matter. It's not until I get to college that my grades are going to matter. And I was stunned. I was like, no, you have to have good grades in high school to get into college. Turns out I was wrong. They were right. The grades you get in college are what really matter, because that GPA, the letter grade that you get and the number grade you get in each classroom follows you wherever you go. So let's say you transfer out of Warren County with a 3.5. All right, that's like between a B and an A average. That's really a very good GPA. So that's going to allow you entry into just about any program you want to get into. But certain programs have certain minimal GPA. So if you want to go into, let's say, a business program at another school, let's say Rutgers, they're going to look for at least a 3.0 GPA coming from Warren County. Okay, if you want to go into any of the medical fields, you have to have at least a 3.5 to a 4.0. If you want to go into education, it's only a 2.5, which is kind of scary. That's kind of a lower GPA there. But most programs at other schools have a minimum requirement of your existing GPA to get in. So my point is, even though you're paying for the education and maybe you feel you should have more control over what you do or don't do, to not do your work in class and to not take it seriously is going to ultimately affect your GPA. That GPA is going to affect what you're going to be able to do after you get done at WCC. So I just want to emphasize so you guys understand that there is a consequence, and that these classes, even Psych 101, your GPA is going to matter. It's going to matter in the end. So I'm not saying that any of you guys are not taking this seriously, by the way. This is something I go over with just about every student I work with, just to understand that what you're doing now counts for your future. It's not just getting your courses done and getting them out of the way so you can move on. You actually have to work on doing well in your class. So what we're talking about today is when you get any kind of prompt, which is basically a prompt is telling you what you need to do for your assignment or your discussion board, you need to make sure you read it really carefully. All right, some places will recommend you read it twice before you even think about how you're going to respond to it. So one of the things that I learned a couple years ago that finally made sense to me, I'm sure I've heard it a million times, is that if somebody is talking and you respond while they're still talking or as soon as they finish, that means that while they were talking, you were still you started formulating your answer and you were no longer listening to what they were saying. Has anybody else heard that before? Tiffany, have you heard that before?
I have.
Right? And it's true. And I'll tell you, Tiffany's a really good listener. She lets me finish my rambling before she gives me an answer. I don't always do the same thing because my brain just sometimes jumps the gun a lot, and I have a tendency to cut people off, and it's just stupid. And I don't do it to be mean. My brain just does that. So sometimes I have to slow my brain down and bite my tongue. Right, Tiffany?
That's correct.
Yeah. See, she knows me. So when you want to do the same thing when you're reading an assignment. Before you start formulating the answer or how you're going to address it, make sure you read that prompt really carefully. Read it twice. This should become a habit as you go through college, to read everything carefully before you start creating questions in your head, before you start questioning things, before you start formulating how you're going to respond. Read it carefully. And then after you've read it, if you still don't understand what the prompt is asking, go ahead and ask your instructor. And remember the email stuff we talked about and the stuff I talked about this morning. Make sure that your email is professional. And if they respond to you and you still don't understand, make sure you follow up. But if they email you back, always follow up either way. Say, okay, thank you, I got it. Or, Professor, I really still don't understand what it is this is asking, could I get a little more help? There's nothing wrong with that, but you need to show that you've at least read the assignment. All right, and I think we talked about this. What none of us want to hear is, oh yeah, I heard there was an assignment. What is it? Well, no, you need to make sure you've read everything before you start asking questions like that. So the prompt is something that you as a student need to kind of deconstruct to understand. And there are several different methods for this. And again, the worksheet that I'm going to have emailed out to you guys has a lot of tips in that on it. And I didn't want to recreate the worksheet, but there are some things I think were really important on that worksheet. So it talks about information words. Okay, information words is going. There are going to be some key words in that prompt that will help you to understand what the prompt's asking. So if you get any of the information words that are on here, define, describe, explain, illustrate, summarize, trace, research, these are asking you to demonstrate what you know about the subject. Okay, so define, and it gives you all this information, but again, this is on that worksheet, so I'm not going to go over each of these words and stuff, because that's just going to waste your time when you do have access to it once I email it out to you. But these are
sorry to interrupt. I did include it in the meeting notification, so it's one of the attachments in today's meeting, along with the summer schedule, and there was one other attachment with it. But the students should have that if they go into their calendar and open the meeting up. They should see for that particular meeting, let's see, it's the understanding assignments document. They have 21 days to form a new habit. I'll be talking about that later. And the summer schedule are all three attachments for today's meeting. So they should all have it.
Excellent, good. So you can look through these on your own, but these are keywords you want to look for when you're looking at a discussion board prompt or a project or an assignment prompt. You want to look for these words, and if you have that work, when you look at that worksheet, it'll tell you what those words mean within the assignment. Okay, and then there are also relation words. Okay, so compare, contrast, apply, cause, relate. These are asking you to demonstrate how things are connected. So sometimes you might be told to compare and contrast two different things. And so you're going to show the relationship between them, but then show the relationship that's not between them, how they're different. Okay, so again, right there on that worksheet for you. And then there's also interpretation words. Assess, prove, justify, evaluate, respond, support, synthesis, analyze, argue. These are words that when you see them in a discussion board prompt, your professor is asking you to defend ideas about a subject, okay? They're not necessarily asking your personal opinion, all right? They're asking you to defend the idea, but you also, most of the time, need to include documentation or evidence. And a lot of times that evidence might come right from your textbook, okay? But sometimes you might be asked to use information outside of your textbook, and that's when you might have to research something and find information about that subject that helps defend how it is you think that subject should be interpreted and how that subject should be understood. So I want to give you a sample prompt. Okay, so let's say this is your prompt for a discussion board post. And in chapter 1 of your textbook, the author has noted that there are 3 philosophical questions related to psychology. These questions are actually the 3 major philosophical issues in psychology. Describe and explain one of these issues in your own words and give an example of that issue. And then in parentheses, it says, you cannot use one from the book. So I actually took this from the Psychology 101 textbook, and this is in chapter 1. So this prompt here gives you a lot of keywords. Okay, and what I really hate right now is that I can't see the chat, so I could do this more interactively. Without being able to see the chat, it's harder for me to do it. But for those of you who have a microphone and you can use it, what do you see in this prompt that might help you to interpret what it is you need to do? Anyone? Anyone? If not, put it in the discussion board.
Lisa, what I see on the screen is your mailbox, your inbox for your mail.
Well, that's stupid. I'm sorry, guys.
Is that what you see, Barbara?
Oh, yeah.
I don't
I
see
was
the
like-
prompt.
That's what I see too, and I was a little confused.
Yeah. So I'm like, I don't know.
What the heck, you guys? Nobody said anything this whole time? Jesus Christ, y'all have paid attention real good. All right, hold on. I'm closing everything I have opened ever in the world.
Because I think you were sharing the wrong screen.
No,
I
I
thought,
was sharing.
I thought you had a specific screen for the students. I was like, okay, well, then I can't see the question.
Right.
All right, hold on here. Okay, can you guys see the PowerPoint now?
No.
Oh, I stopped sharing my
No.
screen. All right,
I can't
hold on.
see it.
All right. Guys, I wish you had told me this before. I could have fixed it all. Now I feel stupid. That's okay. I'm used to feeling stupid, guys. It's not a biggie. All right.
That was your rehearsal.
That was my rehearsal prompt, but I'm not going to make y'all sit through all that again. So what I'll do is, in addition, I will send my PowerPoint slides to Tiffany, and she can share them with y'all so you can see what I was going over. But again, it was also on that worksheet. So I'm going to try to share my screen again. Make sure I'm sharing the right thing this time.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
All right. Do you see that it says sample prompt for discussion board post?
Yes.
All right. And it has that weird picture that kind of looks like teeth, but not really teeth, but like these look like teeth. I don't know.
Mhm.
Sneaky. Okay. Do you guys all see this now?
Yes.
Whew, that was a close one, man.
Yes.
I was going to start crying and things were going to happen. See, y'all got to understand, you know, those of us who are working at the college, we've done a lot of presentations and everything, but everybody gets upset when their technology fails. But I wouldn't cry. I mean, it's too hot to cry. So, I mean, phew. Okay, so let's try this again. This is a sample prompt, let's say, for a discussion board post for the Psych 101 class. I know you're not all in Psych 101, but just go along with it. And the prompt says, in chapter 1 of your textbook, the author has noted that there are 3 philosophical questions related to psychology. These questions are actually the 3 major philosophical issues in psychology. Describe and explain one of these issues in your own words and give an example of that issue. You cannot use one from the book. Everybody with me so far?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, what are some of the keywords in this that might give you a clue as to how you're supposed to answer this prompt?
Explain. She's asking us.
Explain.
Exactly. Explain is one of the things. Anything else?
How we can't use anything from the textbook or.
Exactly. That's definitely a clue right there. Anything else?
Give an example.
Chapter.
Exactly. Chapter 1. That's a big clue to you. Okay, and that's a big clue that the answer you're looking for and the information you're looking for is going to be in chapter 1. Okay, all of this information where you say 3 philosophical questions. All right, so in chapter 1, you want to find where it mentions 3 philosophical questions. And by the way, in your textbook in Cengage, you can even do searches. And we'll try to do that later if my internet is working now. And then explains that these questions are actually 3 major philosophical issues in psychology. And then you have these words: describe, explain, one. So up here it's talking about 3, but you only need to pick 1. And then the other saying is in your own words. Okay, so if a professor is telling you to do it in your own words, that means you should not be quoting from the textbook. You should not be necessarily summarizing or paraphrasing from your textbook. You should be putting it into your own words. And I've heard students say things like, well, when I put things into my own words, it doesn't sound as smart. Okay, but that's fine. It doesn't matter what your words sound like, because you don't want to repeat exactly what's in the textbook. You want to put it into your own words. And that just does not mean just changing each word to another one, like using a thesaurus. That means actually using it in your own words. Now, why might I want you to use your own words? Can somebody tell me? Anyone?
To make answers easier to understand.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sometimes you need to go ahead and take some highfalutin, sentence that somebody else has written, and especially in academia, people have a tendency to talk in a way that you would never normally talk, right? So you want to take that and break it down and make it easier to understand by putting it into your own words. That also shows, though, that you understood the concept. So in the first activity today, Tiffany had you explain what it was that the bat and the ball and the $1 more than the bat and the ball, what that really broke down to in your own words. And that's just to show that we understand, that you understand what it is we're trying to help you understand. And I think Professor George mentioned this last week, but what you want to do is if you're assigned a certain amount of reading for a week, but you're also assigned assignments and or discussion boards for that week, I recommend you read the assignment and the discussion board first. So if you're for a particular week in psychology, let's say you have to read chapters 1, 2, and 3 of your textbook. If you read this prompt for that discussion board first, it lets you know that you really need to be looking in chapter 1 as you're reading for this information. That way, when you're reading, you'll find it that way rather than having to go back later and find where that was. So, and the same thing with your assignments. If you have an assignment for a particular week, read the assignment prompt and the discussion board prompts first, because that way you know what it is you need to be looking for when you're reading. And that does not mean you should not do your reading and you should only find that information, because you might have a test on the whole chapter. And if you only look for this one particular component, you might not be well prepared for your test. So that's something to think about. So describe and explain. So let's go back over here and find, this is what I was showing you before that I guess nobody could see. Describe. Okay, so describe is an information word. And describe means provide details about the subject by answering question words, such as who, what, where, how, why, when. And explain is give reasons why or examples of how something happened. So you're being asked to do both of these things together in that discussion board prompt. Okay. And those are the words that you want to be looking for. All of you who were able to use your microphone and shout things out, those are exactly the right things. And I just underlined pretty much everything you guys talked about. All right. And when it says you cannot use an example from the book, your book does give examples of all 3 of these things. So you would have to kind of do some critical thinking and think of an additional example that would describe this particular situation. So does anybody have any thoughts or questions about this? I know, I throw a lot of information at you guys all the time, and I know that you guys have limited ways of communicating and talking back and forth. So I wanted to see if you guys had any questions, anything that you need help with, anything that doesn't make sense about what I'm talking about. Now is the time to ask. Or you, of course, you can always email. Does everybody understand what we're talking about? Yes in the chat, or no?
Yeah, I understand.
Awesome.
Me too.
Great. So Christy asked a question about citing things from your textbooks. So which week are we in? Because I will be doing a presentation for you guys on citing and stuff like that. I just want to let you know in advance when that's going to be, because that is really important. So if you use anything from the textbook, you need to be able to cite it. And let me see here. I'm actually not doing citations until August 3rd. So let me see here. Let me give you a quick, I'm also going to be going over the things on the library's website as well on September, no, not September 3rd, but later on in these sessions. But let me just show you a couple of things while we're here and you're asking that kind of question. So to cite your textbook, you want to make sure you go to the library's page.
Lisa, you need to share your screen.
Oh yeah, but my internet's still crappy. Nothing's loading on the internet. I can't believe I'm talking to you guys, but I can't get anything to load on my computer. That's really strange.
And Sarah doesn't have a problem getting on Cengage, so when you finish, she's going to do Cengage for us.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so normally what I would tell you to do is to go to the library's webpage and then to go to, there's a tab that says APA citation style.
Oh, here, I can do it for you. Hold on. Oh, let me close this. Wait a second.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I can't believe I can talk to you guys and do this, but I can't show you anything on the web. It's very strange.
Close this. All right, I'm going to the library. And then
Library. And so you go to APA style formatting. There's a tab. So for all your psych classes, yep, psych classes, sociology classes, any science class, education, you're always going to use APA style citations. Okay, for English, history, philosophy, those kind of classes, you're going to be using MLA. So there's two different styles that we normally ask you guys to use while you are a student here. So Tiffany, if you go ahead and click on the right-hand side where it says APA 6 citation guide.
Yep, right here.
Yep. So this is a PDF file that tells you how to cite just about everything you're going to need to cite while you're a student at Warren County Community College. Keep in mind, this is APA 6. Starting in the fall semester, we are going to be moving to APA 7. So some things will change, and in fact, citing textbooks will be a lot easier. But if you scroll down, Tiffany, so the first section is how to cite your textbooks. I think for huh?
Did I go too far?
There you go.
Right.
No, that's perfect.
Okay.
So your book is actually cited right there. And the reference entry example, it's CalAt .j or comma j.w blah, 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 blah. That is your textbook for psychology. So all you literally need to do for this particular citation is copy and paste that. Actually, I might send it to you in another in a email, so you can just copy and paste it because it's harder to copy and paste from a PDF. But the way the basic reference entry goes is listed right here. So in APA, you have to have not only an in-text citation, which is just the author's last name, comma, the year of publication. So right here where it says in-text example, Tiffany, down before the break on that page, it says in-text citation example.
Right here.
Yes. So your in-text, so inside the post, you have a citation like this, which is what we call your in-text or parenthetical citation. It's the author's last name, comma, the year of publication. But then you also have to have, even if it's just one source and you're doing a discussion board post, you still have to have a references area at the bottom of that. So you would then include the bigger citation, the references entry example. Scroll back up to.
Oh.
You're scrolling mad, woman.
Right here.
Yeah, so it's right there. So you have two citations for one book, the in-text and then the one that's in the references page. And by the way, it's always references, even if you have only one reference, like your textbook. So that's one of those weird things about APA, but I'll be getting into a lot more of that in August. But just for now, since those of you who are in the Psychology 101 class, if you need to cite things from your textbook for your discussion board posts or any assignments, that's what you want to go with, okay? If you're in stats right now, I don't think Professor Curley is going to have you citing anything right now, but I could be wrong. If so, let me know and I can help you with those citations. It's not a problem. So I think that's about it for me. If you guys don't have any questions. Christy, did that help answer your question? Perfect. And if you have any citation questions at all, please, please, please email me. That is really my bread and butter. That's what I really concentrate on. Especially APA, I know like the back of my hand. So if you have questions or concerns with that, please take the time to email me and I'll be able to help you with that. So Professor George is gonna come up now or after lunch?
Now, I believe she's on.
Okay.
Sarah?
Sarah!
I think she was on here, SG, let's see.
Yeah, she's on here. She might be getting coffee or something. There she
There
is.
she is.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, guys.
Hello, I'm gonna make you a presenter now, Sarah.
Well, you got to tell me what I'm supposed to do first.
Well, we just want to, so the students, it looked like the majority of them were able to get into the Cengage textbook. For some reason, I couldn't log in and Lisa couldn't log in, but we wanted to show them how to navigate through the full text and show them where the textbook will read to you, just some of the cool features of the textbook.
Okay, so I don't have her textbook. Do you know what I mean?
No, well, it can be any textbook.
Okay.
I think that they just need to know how to move around in it.
Okay, so before I do.
You're muted. Hold on. There you go.
Sorry. I want to follow the rules and I want to do exactly what you said, but I'm going to not for just a second. Okay. So I have access to Jennifer Harrison's class.
Yes.
And I just looked at the grades for the first discussion post. And you guys can't see my screen, right?
No.
Okay, I just want to make sure before I pull this up for me to look at. So I don't want to like shame anybody, but of the students that are in this class, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of you did not complete the first assignment. And so I want to know if it's because you didn't understand how, or you didn't have time, or what the deal was. So maybe, Tiffany, can you see the chat for me?
Yes, I can.
So if you put in your chat how many posts you were supposed to put and how many replies you were supposed to put, what was the assignment? So put 1P and then however many replies you were supposed to have. So I want to know if it's because you didn't understand the directions or you didn't, because if you just didn't do it for the very first week of class, that's bad. I mean, not bad, but problematic, right? It's the first week of class. And if you didn't complete, and 8 of you did not complete the assignment for the first week of classes. So that makes me nervous. Tiffany, am I wrong to be nervous?
No, you're not wrong to be nervous because we want to make sure they understand the expectations from the gate.
So whenever somebody doesn't do the assignment either well or completely, I always want to backtrack and understand it's because they didn't understand the assignment. Did they not understand the technology? Did they try to do it, but they didn't know what the heck to do? Or did they just not have enough time because they didn't schedule their time correctly? So I think it's important for the 8 of you that didn't complete this assignment to ask yourself, not in any kind of blaming way, but in an educational way. Why did I not complete the assignment? So Tiffany, what are most people putting?
Most people have 1 post, 2 replies. A couple have 1 post, 1 reply.
So they understood the question, they understood the assignment wrong. I'm pretty sure that it's 1 post, 2 replies. I couldn't find, and see, this is good for me to say this. When I looked real quickly at it, I wasn't sure where it says 1 post, 2 replies. But so here, I'll share my screen, and I don't want to show anybody's grades, but I will share my screen. And so I'm trying to be you. It's fun to be you. It's much more fun to be you than it is to be me. So here's your first, I'm going to go to your coursework, and I'm going to see that the first assignment was chapter 1 discussion. I'm going to click on that. Oopsie. Oh, I don't want you to see that. Oh, and I saw everybody's grades. I was trying to find where the instructions were. Can somebody in here tell me where the instructions are for that assignment?
Would it be under coursework?
I was wanting them to speak up. Does anybody
Oh.
in here that's here listening to me, does anybody know where you could find the assignment?
Yes, the way that I found it was I went under the discussion board, and
Right
then
here.
it tells you that we need how many questions we have for each unit.
Okay,
So
so
yeah, press on more, and that's where it gives us the directions for what we need and when do we need it by.
so the course introduction, that's in the past, and that does count for something. But this is your
If you go to
your
unit
first
1,
one.
yeah, if you
Unit 1
press on
discussion. Post your initial response to the discussion board on Wednesday and post at least 1 reply. Also, it's only 1.
For DQ 1 in the syllabus, I think she said that we needed at least 100 words. So that's 1 reply or 2 replies with 50 words each. So it depends on the word limit.
So you guys did perfect and I was wrong. I love it when I'm wrong. So you only, because my class, most of these are 1 word. I mean, are two responses. Here's unit 2. Unit 2 is what you should be working on right now. So it's the same directions every week. You have to have your first one up by Wednesday. At least one of your peers. Your response has to be 50 words. Okay, good. So here's discussion board 2. This should give you instruction. I'm sure she does. Oopsie, we don't want that. All right, so I was wrong. I love it when I'm wrong. So I do have.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, sorry, I kept on interrupting you. My bad. Go ahead.
No, don't ever be sorry for interrupting me. I'm the world's worst at that. I really am. I'm like the world's worst at that. So I'm so glad that I'm wrong, because I was worried that you guys had already fallen behind and it was me that was behind. So you can't see my screen, right?
No.
So Nimrose, are you in here?
Yes, I'm here.
Did you know that you didn't make a response?
So I did the discussion questions, but when I was trying to do the response, it said it was too late. But if you see on the thing, it says it's due by Wednesday. So I was a little bit confused there.
Okay, so if we go back here, I'll give you my screen again. So when you look on the discussion board, I think it's going to be, I think it's going to be the same every single time. Post your initial response to the discussion board by Wednesday and post. So your initial one that you post the answer or whatever, and then you post at least 1 reply.
So I already posted the response, but the reply, the peer replies, that's where I was confused. I thought it's due by Wednesday. So I did do one response, but it was past the deadline, so it said
Yep.
that it was too late. So I was
Yep.
gonna email the professor about it because there was a bit of a confusion at my end.
Well, you know, I'm glad that you're going to email her, and it's only a little bit of a point, but it's good to email her. But you should know, so the discussion response, you did this on Monday, is that right?
Yes,
That's
earlier this morning.
Yes. So the week is over. Do you mean like Monday starts the next week? So I'm sure that you can't do it on Monday. So I'm not trying to single you out, making you feel bad. I'm just wanting to help you understand. I find this a little bit confusing because I'm not exactly sure. Post and replies are due Sunday, July 16th, July 19th. So I guess who in here can tell me when the replies are due?
Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah,
Okay.
Sunday.
All right. So I'm
But I
just
think
wanting to help everybody. You know what I mean? I'm just wanting to get it clear for everybody. No, I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad. So that's good, Nimros, that you figured that out. And Jessica and Vanessa and Jabari and Faith and Salama. Do you guys all know that you didn't make a reply? I'm not wanting, it's not a big deal. I'm not mad. You're not getting scolded. I just want to make sure that you understand that you didn't complete the assignment. Do you guys all understand that?
One student did post no, that he understands he didn't do it. Yep. In the chat.
And if you say, yes, I understand they didn't do it, that's fine. I mean, in the big scheme of things, that's fine. I mean, you didn't get your full credit for that post, but if you didn't get it done and you knew it was due, that's a lot different than you thought you'd done it. So, you know, you guys all got to know that I'm the nicest person ever. I mean, I'm not judging you. I just want to make sure that you understand that you didn't get it done. Any of those people who do not do a reply, but Nimros, do you guys understand that you didn't do the assignment?
Yes, I do understand.
Okay, good. That's really what I'm looking for. Vanessa, do you understand that you didn't do it? Are you one of those people?
Yes, I understand.
Okay. How about Shalama or Faith or Jabari? Did you understand that you didn't do it? Vanessa, do you guys understand that you didn't do it?
Yes.
Yeah? Why didn't you guys do it?
Faith said yes. Jabari said he was confused.
All right, so Jabari, you know what to do now. So can I just ask, in the spirit of moving forward, why did you not do your first assignment completely in the class? I mean, that's just an interesting choice to make, that you chose not to finish your first assignment. What percentage of your grade is your discussion board post? Do you guys know?
40%.
How much? 40%?
Yeah, 40% assignments and 40% discussion board.
So if 40% of it is your grade, you know what that means. That's a huge amount of your grade. And I have a feeling that you're only going to have, what, 6 weeks in this class or something like that? So there's only going to be 6 weeks of discussion. So for your first of 6, you've chosen not to do the full assignment.
Hello?
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, like, I did the discussions,
Yeah.
but I didn't do 2 replies. I did 1. And so
doesn't show-
there wasn't a green check mark, but, like, I didn't know, like, how that worked, because I did the discussions, but I didn't do 2 replies. So, like, because I did all the assignments and the discussions, but, like, none of the discussions ever were checked green, and so I was, like, confused.
So,
Same here.
So can you guys can't see my screen, right?
No.
I just want to make sure before I go in there and look. I don't want to, like, put anybody out on the road or whatever. Okay, so let me look for you. So I'm gonna look for you. I like it when I have a specific name. That's very helpful. So she hasn't graded anything.
Right.
So nobody has a grade. Nobody has a grade. She hasn't, and that's nothing bad about Jen. You know, it just takes a while to catch it all up. So Jabari, what is your last name?
Amador starts with an A.
Okay. I'm a little deaf. Can you say that one more time? I didn't quite hear you. Oh, here it is. I found you.
Amador.
I found you. Yep, I found you. So let me see what it says about you. You made a post. I have that you made an initial repost and you made no replies.
For either or for one?
I show, like I looked on chapter 1 discussion board and I see that you made an initial post but you didn't make any replies.
So that's why that happened?
Yeah, because the assignment is to make a post and to make a reply.
Okay. That makes, okay, I was confused. Never mind.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad you're asking me. Like I said, I'm not wanting to pull anybody's string. I'm just wanting to know, how about you, Shalama? I'm looking at yours. Am I saying that right? Is he here? Is that a he or a she? I'm sorry, I don't know.
It's a he, Shalama.
Shalama, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Did you know that you didn't finish the assignment? Or were you unsure?
Well, I said it in the chat already, but what I pretty much said was when I would click on the discussion, like assignment, it would show a green check next to you didn't make any replies.
Okay, so did you do that before Sunday?
No, I didn't, because since there was a green check next to you didn't make any replies, I thought that meant that I didn't have to make any replies.
Well, okay, so everybody knows that you do now, right?
Yes, but I didn't know that now.
Is Sean Budito here?
He's not a part of this group.
Okay. Is Megan? Oh, here, I got a piece of paper there, but all this down on, duh.
Megan is not here today.
Okay.
Barbara, you should have her down as absent.
Is Faith here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Did you understand? Were you confused? Is there a problem with yours?
I'm looking at it right now.
I will look at it right now too, Faith. So Faith, I have that you made a post and you did not make any replies. So like I said, I'm not trying to, call you out. I'm just trying to make sure that you understand what to do with this. You hear what I'm saying? So please don't feel bad, anybody, about me calling you out. I'm just trying to make sure you do the right thing. Faith, did you understand? Like I said, I'm just trying to make sure.
She typed yes in the chat.
Okay, I do this for all of my students, so don't feel bad. I just want to make you be successful.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. So it's Kevin. Kevin, Colorado. All right. Yeah. So I think I did everything too, but in the end, I didn't see the green check and two other section. So I don't know if I did everything or I missed something. So I don't know if you can check that for me.
I know Kevin I can look real quick for you. See, I don't think Jen would mind us doing this at all. And this is not something your teachers will ever do for you. None of your teachers will ever do what I'm doing right now. I'm unique. Everybody can attest to that. I'm unique in this. It looks, Kevin, like you've done everything you're supposed to do. And she hasn't graded it yet. It was just due last night for most people. So don't feel bad. And I think that, you did fine.
Sorry to interrupt anyone. For the check marks that everyone is asking about, I didn't have them either, even though I finished the assignment. I don't think we get a check for the discussion questions, because whenever I do the assignment, I get a check, but with the discussion questions, it never gives me a check. So I don't think it will be giving us a check for the discussion question.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
And you guys are welcome to reach out to her and say like, how is the grading done? How do I recognize what I did or whatever? I encourage you to reach out to her. Does anybody else have a question before we go on?
Two
Real
questions
quick.
in the chat. Two questions in the chat. So Leah wants to know, so in one post, we only need one reply, not two. But Sarah, go back and just review that word count, because the word count determined how many replies you needed, correct?
I don't know. I'll have to check with Jen. I've never seen that particular option.
In hers, she had, if your reply was 100 words, you only had to do one reply.
Okay.
But if your reply was only 50 words, then you had to do two replies. So Aaliyah and everyone, it would just depend on how long your reply would be to one of the students in your class. So you have to check the word count. If it's 50 words, less than, up to 50 words, you need to reply to two. But if you at least hit 100 words, you only need to reply to one person.
Great. So Kevin, do you mind if I use you as an example?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So if I share my screen with you, so these are the responses. So Kevin responded here, and you see here's his response, and right there it says 77 words. So he has a 50-word response. These are all, you guys all see all this. She has a 70-word response, right? This initial post was 150 words. So I'm not in here as a student, but students who are here, do you guys see that? Or do you not see that?
Yes, I see it.
You see, I mean, hold on, I'm going to change my view real quick and just make sure. I'm just so used to being me. So, here we go. So this is a student. There's a student's. So you guys don't see the words. That's really important. Like there's Jen's. How many words does Jen have? Well, I don't know. What I do is I copy it, Control C, and then I open up my Word document. And I do a Control V, and there's Jen Harrison's response. Let's see what kind of grade she would get. I'm going to go to review, and I'm going to see that she wrote 32 words. So she would have to write another response to get credit. I mean, she's a teacher, but we don't have to worry about it. So all you have to do, does this look like 50 words to you guys, this one, this Julia one?
It tells us before we post how many words we have. So
Perfect.
If we want to check, it just tells us.
Oh, good. Because I'm just seeing it. I've never seen the student view because I'm not a student. So you do get that. Good, 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 good.
Yeah, before you post it, you can look at the preview and it tells you how many words you have. So you make sure that you're on the correct limit. It only tells us for us, not for other students.
Awesome. Thank you. Does anybody else have a question about how you're doing in psychology, how to do it so that you get an A? You all want to get an A. That I would hope that's your goal. Some people say the goal is to finish. That's a good goal too. Finish with a passing grade. That's a better goal. Finish with the feeling that you did it all the very best you possibly could is really the goal. Any other questions about, you see Tiffany in the chat that I should answer?
Yes, well, there was a question about who do you reply to? You're supposed to do one or two replies. So the question was, who do you reply to?
Well, hopefully when you go into, look, so I'm in here as a teacher, but it doesn't matter. So here is your discussion board. I just make sure you don't have grades here. No. So there's discussion board 1. Hopefully you read them all. You read them, chapter 1 discussion, you read the discussion and you say, I don't have anything to, look, there's Dina. Dina's like, I liked hers, or I had a question or whatever. I like how you listed them. So who you respond to is the person that helped you the most, confused you the most, intrigued you the most, someone that made you want to say something back. Somebody who makes you think, oh, I don't get this, or whatever. Anybody you want is the answer.
And it doesn't matter if no one replies to your post, but you must reply at least to one other person's post with a 100-word count or 2 other people with 50-word count.
Correct. I would suggest 2 people with 50 words. 100 words is a lot for a response, unless you have a lot to say, but don't pad it. Don't pad it. If you're feeling like you're padding it, I like your font, you know. If you feel like you're padding it, I've seen that a lot. I really like your font. Or people say like, hi, how you doing? How's life treating you? No, that's padding it. You know what I mean? So make sure that you try not to pad it and do 2 people at 50 words each would be better, I think. But that's whatever you want.
Hey Sarah, what if you like say like whether you like it or dislike it and then explain why? Is
That's
that
good.
kind of what you think,
That's
or
good.
no?
That's good unless you're saying that you dislike someone's emotional response. Do you know what I mean? If it's a question that's like, how do you feel about something? Well, you can't not like that, you know, because that's how somebody feels. But if you disagree with it, you can say that you disagree if you're very polite about it. But I love disagreements. It's great to disagree. I mean, that's where we learn.
So
Got
someone has a question about how badly is it going to affect their grade if you only made 1 post, 1 reply, a post and 1 reply?
Well, if you did the 100 words, it's fine. If you didn't, you know, it's water under the bridge. Move forward, do better next time. I mean, you know, don't sweat the small. I mean, you know, I always say acknowledge your mistakes and move on and don't do it again. You know, just move forward. Don't worry about that now. Nothing you can do about it. It won't be the end of the world.
Just a few points. Just a few points. You want to earn them though. These are easy points.
Yep.
Hey Sarah, if you don't mind, can you look at my reply and tell me if it's like a good reply or no? Because I want to make sure that I'm not like doing it wrong.
For which one?
Doesn't matter to any of my replies. If you can take a look at it and tell me what you think.
This is Dina, right?
Yeah.
Look at all of Dina's. Look at that. You're awesome, girl. You are awesome. So there, have you already answered these questions?
Yeah, I did them last night.
Wow.
I like writing better at night, honestly.
I agree with you, Melanie. I feel like after this course, I will be able to see the people around me better. I always jump to conclusions and make so many assumptions, but I think after this course, that might change. Like you, I also want to be able to help out my friends and family, and I think I will be able to do that better after this course. That's great. That's great.
So I'm not like doing it wrong, right?
Nope, looks beautiful to me. I would spend one more minute with editing, but it's beautiful.
Okay, I'll do that. Yeah. Thank you.
Yep. Anybody else have a question on the board or just to me with their mouths? Tiffany, do you want me to do this engage or we run out of time?
It is 11:40. We finish at 12.
Oh, I can do a quick engage then.
Mm-hmm.
So can anybody, don't answer yes if the answer is yes, but is there anybody in the class who is taking a course who still has not been able to successfully access their textbooks? So if you have not successfully accessed your textbooks, just put a no in the chat so that we know who you are. And let me go to, you guys see my screen, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, good, thank you. So I am going to go up here.
Christy said no.
I think that's an old no, Barbara.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think Jabari just said yes, he needs help getting access to his textbook.
So can somebody help him? I can help him after
It's not
this.
so much of getting to my textbook, it's more of understanding the textbook. Like I believe I'm in the textbook, but I don't understand how about to go through it for
Okay.
my assignments correctly. Like I want to click on something incorrectly and I'm reading something that's not for what I'm doing at that moment. I believe that's what my problem.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. So Jen Harrison, do you have, whoever was talking, I'm sorry, I'm so spacey, I can't keep track of that. Do you have statistics or psychology? The person that was asking that question about they're not sure what.
I have psychology.
Okay, good. So this is what all of your textbooks look like. You have a big thing up here, you got this thing over here. Does this look familiar? Who was that gentleman who was just talking? I want to help you.
Jabari.
Jabari. Okay, Jabari. Does this look familiar? I mean, you don't have macroeconomics, you have psychology, but this is kind of what it looks like for you too, right?
Yeah, there's like usually like there's like folders and then you click on it and then there's like
So
stuff.
here's folders. So the thing that I always recommend to students when they're first in here is that everything is stacked up a little bit confusing. So I always go right here to where it says expand all and I hit that first. So when you hit expand all, everything that's available to you is here. Now, I don't know, some of you guys who have Jen Harrison can tell me. So I have required that you have to read the first chapter, but I do not have a due date. Does she have any due dates in here for the chapters?
She said that she won't be using the textbook except for the reading. None of the assignments in the textbook count.
I talked to her about this with a little bit of frustration because she can hide all this. But Jabari, the main thing to know, everybody in psychology, is that this says counts towards grade, and a lot of you guys have that in your textbook. I teach macroeconomics, and this does count towards their grade, and you see a due date there, right? This is due, past due, June 7th. So
yeah,
you
for us,
will have.
I never saw that. There was like no due date. I saw it said counts towards grade, but there's not like a due date under it.
Okay, so the due date is just, I put readings as due dates. Some people don't. They just say read chapter 1 and do the homework. There's an assumption that you'll read chapter 1, right? So there's two ways to read your chapter. There's two ways to read your book. One way is when you get to this. Do you see there's like a little book icon there? It looks like a book. You click on that and that's your book. Another way to do it is you go over here to this sidebar and you see a book and you click on the book. Have you guys all seen those two options in your psych class? If anybody's on their computer, they can pull it up.
You have 1 yes, 2 yeses in the chat.
Yeah, just if anybody doesn't know how to do that, you can.
Can you point to it again, Sarah, where you were clicking?
Sure, I will get a little pointer. That'll be fun. Okay, so here at the very top, whenever I enter any textbook in Cengage, I hit, this says collapse all. I can't click now. You can hit collapse all and it will look like all these little folders. And then the first thing you want to do for all of your classes really is hit expand all. That way there's nothing hiding. Everything is stacked. And so if you don't click expand all, you don't see what's available. Jabari, can we share a screen with you? Can you make Jabari's screen the screen that we can see?
I'm in a vehicle right now and I have to do this through my phone, so I can't access my computer at this very moment because there's a lot of dead zones while we are driving and it will just cut
you're
my
driving. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine. So has anybody else got their computer up and their textbook open and up?
Hey, Tiffany,
Yeah.
my page isn't opening because there's a problem. This page is not found.
You were breaking up terribly, Dina. I couldn't understand you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
For the Cengage, I just tried to log in and it said, sorry, page not found. So it's not working.
Huh.
Yeah, I was having a problem too, Sarah, but you got in. So what browser did you get in under?
Always Chrome.
That's what I'm using too.
Yeah. So did you talk to them at all about the Ethernet thing, Tiffany?
You know what? We posted it in the chat, but we didn't have further discussion about the Ethernet.
So anybody who's having trouble, how many of you, could you just say me, how many of you are having trouble with your Wi-Fi at home? Getting to the book, doing the assignments, having a glitch out? Do anybody having that problem?
Oh, shoot, I don't know my username and password.
Anybody having trouble with that function? With staying on? Yes, I see some me's. So the people who said me, what you really need to do, and it sounds like I'm asking you to buy something expensive. I'm not. And maybe Tiffany can help you out with that too. But all you need is you need an Ethernet. You need an Ethernet. All you need is this. And I get frustrated. I'm not frustrated, you guys. I just get frustrated at life because these cables are pretty darn cheap. This one's 6 feet. This one's 3 feet. I go for the ones, you don't need 50 feet, but go for one that's like pretty long. And all you do is you see both of these look like something you can plug into your computer. You plug one into your computer and you plug the other one into your router. And then you don't have to use internet. You're just using, you don't have to use Wi-Fi. So then you have a direct line and you don't have, it doesn't matter how many people are on Wi-Fi. If your Wi-Fi connection's not good where you're sitting, plug right into your router and plug into your computer, and then you don't have those problems. So I went on Amazon, but you could have gone on, see, here's one that's, get one that's not 4 feet, get one that's 6 feet's pretty good. It's $9. If you're going out into the pandemic, I kind of live in my house, but if you're going out into the pandemic, you can always, oh, look, I was looking at patio chairs. That's kind of funny. You just type in Ethernet and there they are. This one is 7 feet long. It's a reduced price. They're so smart to have a reduced price on it. It's $4. So if you get one of those and you plug it into your computer and plug it into the router, it's going to be a lot easier for you. So back to the question about the book. Since all you're going to do in this class is read the book, you can just go right over here to the book. When you get the book out there, do this little button right here that makes it big. So there's your whole big old book. Over here's your chapters. You want to go to chapter 1, you want to read about economics. I don't blame you. Everybody wants to read about economics. See, this is why you shouldn't do it here. You shouldn't do it here. You should do it. Okay. Oh, there it is. See this little mouth right there? That means it'll read it to you. You can't hear it. But it reads it to you. And I know that a lot of you are not in favor of reading your book. So have it read to you and have your discussion question out in front of you while you do this. So the gentleman who asked me about this, do you see how to get to your book now? So there's your book. Here's some other good things about your book. I'm old, so I point up my font. So sometimes people find it easier to read if you have a bigger font. Point up your font. Some other good things. If you say, oh, I want to remember this sentence here, this is a really important sentence, you highlight that sentence and then you right click, whoopsie, you highlight that sentence and then you right click, oh, I can't do it here. So this is why you should use your book. And see, we're learning something together, everybody. Right? We're learning something together. Because if I try to highlight this, I can't highlight it. All right, so don't do it here. If you go here to where you have chapter 1 with all of this stuff that you don't have to do, and you click on this book, That's something to remember, everybody. Now, I think this is an important sentence. So I'm going to highlight it. When I highlight it, I get this thing that I can put a highlight. And then you can also say, I'm going to right click on that. Oh, I'm going to highlight it and I'm going to add a note and say, this is like the example on the PowerPoints. And I'm going to save that. So if you read chapter 1 and you make those highlights, then when you're done with chapter 1, you could go over here to Study Hub. And on the Study Hub, it'll show you the notes and highlights. So you're making a study guide. So I already did this. I made a bunch of notes and highlights here. I share mine with the students, but most people don't do that. But you can highlight things, and then you'll have it for your notes over here. I like this. Create a study guide. Create a new study guide. Create a study guide. I don't know how to do that. But if nothing else, you can highlight. And this is really nice too. Almost all texts have flashcards. Let me see if I have them here. Yep. You have to scroll down this little thing and you get flashcards. So you can make your own flashcards out of your highlighted notes. And most of them have like a stock of them, right? Where they ask you questions and you can flip the card. So vocabulary is really good. So you can look. The only thing wrong with the flashcards is some teachers only teach certain parts of the text, not the whole text. So you kind of have to have your study guide in front of you again. So I'm talking too much. Somebody asked me a question about reading the book, highlighting it. You can put a little tab here for where you were when you go do something else and you come back. You see my highlights. I highlight a lot. I share my highlights with my students, but don't expect that. Then you can put little notes there. You put notes to yourself. Anybody have a question about the book? So I would go again. Here's your book. Another really smart thing to do is, like, this is the first page, and you're preparing for the test, and you have access to a printer. This is not cheating, you guys. You can go down to chapter summary, and you can copy and paste or print out the summary. Like, people want to print the whole chapter. That's a lot of printing, but you can go through the summary and hopefully that will jog your mind. So use your textbook, right? So here's what it says is in the chapters. So when you have a question on your discussion board, you go to you can go here to look and see, oh, she's asking a question about the need for abstraction. So I'll click on that and it will take me to that section. So use the chapters. Every book has that. Key terms. When you go to key terms, you guys, you can click on the term and they'll give you the definition. That's important. Anything else I can help you with? I know this is a lot of information. I like the test yourself. The test yourself at the end of the chapter, they'll have answers and they'll ask you a question. Not all books have them, but most of them do. But you want to use, so the one thing you want to take away, let me review for you real quick. What you want to take away from my short little thing here, too much information, I know, always. Here's your big takeaways. The big takeaway is when you open up your book, click expand all. First big takeaway. You find your book by looking for this icon that looks like a book. Read your book there, not over here, because if you read it here, you can highlight, you can make notes, you can make study cards. Who's got a question? Anybody?
No, Sarah. I
Yeah.
got like a recommendation. Like I tried to through like use it in the computer, but I couldn't. Like it was like really, I don't know, like hard. So I downloaded the app in my phone, and it's working like really good. Like you can do everything that you can do in the computer and in your phone.
Yeah.
And it's like really good. It's really working, and it's like really easy to use.
Now, what made it easy to use?
I don't know.
There's a Cengage app.
Oh, the Cengage app?
Yeah.
Awesome. So with the Cengage app, does it look anything like my screen?
Yeah, you have everything. You can change the like everything. You can highlight. You can add notes. You can do everything.
Nice. Awesome. That is so good for me to know. I downloaded the Cengage app a couple of years ago when we started, and it was really crap. So I'm really happy to know that it's been improved, because I used to recommend against it.
I believe the Cengage app would be good for people who don't have like Wi-Fi and have to use their phone, because when people have to use their hotspots, a lot of people here are trying to use like their hotspots of their phone, which then when you do that leading into the computer, it sends like less data. So if you use the Cengage app on your phone, you're giving it the most data, so it's going the fastest. So if for anybody like that, it's probably the best bet, in my opinion.
That is really good information. I just want to make sure that nobody's doing the whole course on their phone. Nobody should be doing the whole course. Yeah. But if you got to use your phone, if you're somewhere else, that's great. So you're saying to use the Cengage app in a hotspot? No. Use the Cengage app.
No, on like your phone, because some people here don't actually even have Wi-Fi in their house. They're using their phone as a hotspot, which is like it works, but it's like slower than if you just use the actual phone. And since the Cengage app is actually good, you could just use that for Cengage. So then you get like a faster response and everything. It's just better work and more efficient that way. I'm not saying do the whole thing on your phone. I'm just saying for like Cengage when you want to access your text.
Jabari, would you do me a really big favor? And everything that you just said, can you just shoot me an email that says all that? Because I want to make that part of it. Just shoot me.
I can totally shoot you an email. Yeah.
Yep. Because
I definitely help this. I'm really big on that, and I understand like how like data and all that stuff works. So yeah, I can totally send you an email.
Awesome. Awesome. Because I'm pretty good at all that stuff, but I'm having experience different than you're having experience, because I never get on my phone. So that's really, really good to know. And I want to include that information in my syllabus for next semester, that they know that they can do that. So that's really helpful. And anybody else who finds little helpful things like that, please pass it on. Thank you, Jabari.
Sarah, I included Jabari's note. If you don't have Wi-Fi, use the Cengage app in the chat. And also Comcast is offering new customers, because of COVID-19, a 60-day, I guess, internet access, free internet access, and I included the link in the chat.
Well, Tiffany, can't they use CARES money for that?
Yes, but it's taking time for the CARES money to get to them. But in the meantime, at least try and use your Cengage app, or use this sign up for the free 60-day Comcast. I can tell you that, and since we were talking about CARES, has everyone submitted their CARES application, and or if you've received a request for more information from the CARES email, cares@warren.edu, if you were requesting more information, did you submit the details that I emailed to you? If you did, please type it in the chat, because then I can follow up at the college to see when they're going to move the applications forward for review, because I can tell you they haven't even been moved forward for review yet. And it's, you know, we submitted those when last Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday. Yeah. So, and whoever study is, I don't think we ever got your first and last name for attendance. Barbara, did you get that for study? Whoever's logged in to study?
No, I still haven't.
So wherever you are, study. You just typed in, yes, I did. Please give us your first and last name.
One other thing I would like to know, just for my own curiosity, is how many of you guys have internet at home? Like, what's the difference between, I'm just being stupid in front of everybody. I like to be stupid in front of everybody. What's the difference between having internet, having Wi-Fi, and having a hotspot? Like, I don't understand.
The difference is that a hotspot is based off of a mobile plan off of your phone. So like, you know how you have data on your phone that makes it high speed and lets you like do things at a faster rate, but now you're using that data as the hotspot so you can use it on your computer. So you're pretty much just transferring your high speed data to your computer. You're just transferring your phone data to your computer.
So aren't you just like using up all, you have to have unlimited
Yeah,
data
that's the thing. You're using your data.
Yeah, yeah.
And when you use hotspot, you use more data using your hotspot than if you just used your regular phone.
So is there anybody in the group, if you don't want to show it to everybody, there's no shame, you guys. Is there anybody in the group that does not have internet access in their house? So you can answer this, Jabari. If you have internet in your house, does that mean necessarily that you have Wi-Fi?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, because I have a router and everything, so I don't have to use my hotspot because my Wi-Fi is actually really good.
But is that for everybody? Like everybody who has internet has Wi-Fi? Is that true?
In my house, yes.
No, like in the world of computers, like everybody who says yes, I have internet, does that mean yes, you have Wi-Fi?
No.
Okay. So that's really helpful to me because I always ask people, do you have internet? But I guess what I want to know is, can you use the internet on your computer? Is that really the question I want to ask? What's the
Yeah, that's probably
question?
the question you want to ask.
Yeah.
Like,
I need
can
to
you
ask
use
people,
that on your computer? Because, like, yeah, we all have the internet, we all have a phone, but like to do it the way it's supposed to be intended is a little different.
Yeah, and if you don't want to be using your data to do your coursework, you really don't want to, we don't want you to use data to use your coursework. We want you to be doing your coursework on the internet and not using your data. Does that make sense? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because then it would be a very expensive course and you would be hesitant to go online and look things up because you're using your data. We don't want you to be using data. So
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was actually supposed to have Wi-Fi a few weeks ago before I started the program. The only thing is the person that's supposed to come and set up the router is not able to come.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, folks, so thank you so much for being here today, and it's glad to be here and enjoy this opportunity to share some information with you, as well as I'll be here tomorrow, and also to be able to share some information regarding my Warren and in particular the advising worksheets. So good stuff, important stuff for you to be able to understand a little bit about how to be as successful as you can here at Warren County. And that's what we want, folks, is we care about your success here, and you're moving from this part of your life and stage of your life where you're learning to, moving on to a four-year school or moving on to a job, whatever that may be for you. We're here for you. Now, know that I work as far as I'm a teaching administrator. I'm the area chair for the science department. So I actually am a professor in the sciences, and I will teach A&P 1, Anatomy and Physiology 1 and 2. I'll teach Principles of Human Bio and Principles of Bio, any other biological science, as well as in the medical assisting program, I'll teach medical terminology and medical office procedures. And the reason why I can do this is because I was a doctor of chiropractic for 20 years. So I was involved in patient care for all those years, as well as running a business. So I have a lot of business experience, as well as healthcare experience, as well as just, I'm old, life experience. But that's okay, because that's what you need. You need life experience. You need mentoring from someone who's been there before you and been there and had a lot of opportunities to learn. And so that's why, really, Sarah, George, and myself, and Tiffany and Barbara, we're all here to help you, to facilitate, and Dawn, right? And Dawn also, we're here to help you, and we want to make sure that we can do all that we can to answer questions and help guide you in the right path in order to be successful. So today, my presentation is taking charge of your outcomes using the rubric. So your outcomes, we're looking at in particular how successful as far as your papers, your projects, these different types of requirements that you'll have to do for certain classes that you'll be graded on. And you want to know how you're going to be graded. Well, the rubric is going to be the way and the thing to show you. Okay, so very important to understand that. And really, I'm going to tell you this also, that if you have an issue where you're not understanding the rubric, if you're not understanding the syllabus, you're not understanding an assignment, you need to talk with your instructor, right? First, talk with your instructor and say, read through it first, right? Go through the information first, and then bring to your instructor a question. Hey, I'm just not getting it. I'm not understanding, whatever. And, see what they can do to help explain a little bit better. Sometimes also you can reach out to one of your peers, right? Just as we have peer advisors here in EOF, you could reach out to one of them or one of your students that's in the class that you're taking, or you can come to us also in student services, in the EOF program here. We want to help you. So, there's a lot of different avenues that you can choose. In addition to, we already have talked about, I'm sure, the tutoring, the ISC, and the library, right? Resources, folks, that don't cost you anything, that are they're valuable, they're invaluable, really. They really are. They're, really important to take advantage of those. So let's go on to the first slide here. All right, so I like this image here. I don't know if you like hiking. I love hiking. I like getting out there in the outdoors. And, if you're in an area where you don't really know the area, you're not familiar with it and such, is it important to have a guide? Right, absolutely. A guide can help you as far as making sure that you're going to be safe and stay away from bears and whatever other types of things that could possibly be a problem, and can guide you on a path to where you want to go. Well, the rubric is going to be that guide for you that's going to prepare you and help you and put you on the path to do well for your project, your paper, presentation, whatever it may be. Okay. This is cool. This is the USCGC Eagle. So I had the opportunity to serve in the United States Coast Guard for 6 years. I was a cook. So I am a very good cook. I professionally cooked for a while there, and I enjoyed that. I was going to become a chef, and it didn't work out. I chose to go a different path as far as healthcare. But I'm showing you this now because beautiful vessel, right? And I don't know if anybody likes to get out in the water. I love being out in the water. And I've been on smaller sailing vessels. But how does that ship move? How does it get from point A to point B? Their harbor, where they're located, is in New London, Connecticut, where the Coast Guard Academy is located. But say they want to go to another area of the country along the coast, right? Well, part of it is that they have to follow different maps and such, and have different guidance and navigation, we call it, right? But there's also someone that would be at the helm. The helm, let's take a look here, right? Now, this is a little bit different than what you're thinking as far as Pirates of the Caribbean with, the big steering wheel and such. This is different, right? This is how naval vessels are piloted as a result of like joysticks and such. Pretty interesting stuff. So this is the person who is a petty officer who is actually involved in steering this vessel that they're at. Not the large vessel that you just saw, but just giving an example of, imagine thinking of a ship and guiding that ship. Well, you folks, you're in control of your ship. Think about that, right? Your ship is going someplace, right? Whether it's going in a direction, it's a positive direction, or is it sinking? I don't know. We don't want to talk about that. We want our vessel to go in a good direction where we need to be and to be successful, right? So it's important for you to realize, though, that you are in control of what goes on in your life, right? And so, as we mentioned before there, about having people who have experience and can give you guidance, folks, take advantage of that and really, ask questions. So when you're in class, please, make sure that you're, as a professor, I'm telling you, ask questions. Meet with us after class, meet with us before class, meet with us during our office hours. We want to help you. We want you to learn. We want you to be successful. We want you to succeed. We want you to do well in our classes. So ask questions. Again, it's the whole thing of you're in control, okay? So taking charge here, right? So I am in control of my destiny, what goes on in my life, right? That's the big picture. The small picture is that if we're looking at an assignment, you're in control of that and how well you do, and you're responsible for the outcome of that assignment, whether it's good, bad, or the ugly, right? It's, whether it's really a positive, doing very well, or doing very poor. Sorry, they're out there doing some yard work, I apologize. So here's some terms here that we should look at there. As far as an outcome, it's the end result, right? So did I get an A, a B, a C? Did I pass or did I do poorly? The syllabus is the overall guide given your course, the objectives that you need to follow, you need to accomplish in order to pass the class, in order to complete the class and do well and move on. So very important that you understand your syllabi, the syllabus there. It's very important for each of your classes. And if you have questions regarding that, please, like I said, reach out to your professors and let them know that there's an issue and I'm not understanding this assignment, or I'm not understanding certain things that are going on. Whatever it may be, folks, we want to be there to help you. The rubric in particular, so we've got the syllabus that gives the overall guide. The rubric will give us a specific guide for a specific assignment, whether that's a psychology paper, whether that's a presentation in speech, whatever that may be. The rubric is going to tell you this is what your professor expects of you, and this is what will happen as long as you follow these guidelines, you get a very good grade. If you don't meet the guidelines and the expectations, well, then the grade is going to follow accordingly. So we really want to make sure that we're understanding. So when you receive an assignment and you look at coursework, right? So you look at coursework in My Warren, and it'll give you your assignments and their due dates and such. Hey, right away, when you look at an assignment, read through it, go through the instructions. If there's something you're misunderstanding or don't understand, please reach out to your instructor and find out. Again, too, in ISC, in the library, they're also very helpful. Okay. So again, let's come back to like the definition of this rubric, right? So it's a scoring tool, meaning that you're going to get a grade. That grade is out of 100 points, so to speak, and that 90 to and above A, 80 to 89 B, right? So it's a scoring tool that explicitly describes the instructor's performance expectations for an assignment or a piece of work. So know that this is your instructor is telling you right off the very beginning, this is what I expect from you, and this is what will happen. Do well, follow the points and the course objective, the assignment objectives that we have, and you'll do well and you'll get a good grade. Feedback. So I've had opportunity over the past 2 weeks to do some public speaking, right? And I always like to get some feedback as far as from people who are in the audience, like in particular, somebody that like you can just, hey, how did I do? Did I do okay? Did things come off all right? Did I get the message across? What am I looking for? I'm looking for feedback. I'm looking for someone giving me information and saying, hey, Tony, you did well, or hey, I agreed with what you were saying and it made sense to me, but some of the things weren't so clear. That's feedback, okay? Feedback is not, I would tell you that feedback is not a bad thing. Constructive feedback can help us. And what can happen with this is that, so look at what it says here. Rubrics can be used to provide feedback to students on diverse types, so all the different types of assignments, and it can help you to adjust what you've done and make corrections or make adjustments to it, and then do better and be able to get a better grade, right? Sometimes if you've had someone say to you, well, Bob, I would tell you that if you do this, this, and this to your paper, you'll accomplish the goals of the rubric, You'll meet the guidelines in that rubric and what your professor is asking of you, and you should do very well. Or you could take that feedback and go, well, but I just like my paper the way it is, and I'm not going to make a change to it. Well, that's listening to feedback, but not paying attention to feedback and doing something about it. So we would hope that you would ask for feedback, and then your professor would be able to make adjustments and tell you this is what you need to do in order to make this better. So an effective rubric helps students, right? And really, truly, this is what's going on with the rubric here. So we're going to be understanding the instructions that your professor would have for you, right? Expectations, the standards, the guidelines. The instructor feedback will help you to improve your performance and what your paper, what your project is, and how it can become better. Know that, right? So your instructor is an expert in their field. So we want to take experts' advice in whatever it is in life, right? So I don't know anything about cars. You know, if you do, I'm glad for you. I wish I knew something about cars. I don't. So I go to the mechanic, and I expect that the mechanic is going to tell me, hey, doc, you know, this is what's going on with your vehicle, and this is what we can do to replace it and fix it, and this is how much it's going to cost, and you know, take this much of time. Right? They're the experts. I want their feedback, because if I just go, well, let's make a little bit of noise, but if I just shoot some oil on it or whatever, it'll be good. And then it'll be stuck on the side of the road. So not listening to feedback, not listening to an expert can be troublesome. Well, again, your professors are the experts. They want to make sure that they're guiding you and helping you so that you learn from whatever it is that they're teaching you and giving you feedback on. It can help to monitor and assess the progress that you work towards. Again, these goals are clear. They should be clear, right? That the professor has for you. And if they're not, then that's when we ask questions and we try to figure out what's going on. Listen to this. Look at this last one here. Recognize strengths, weaknesses, and direct their efforts accordingly, right? Many times it's not that we need input on our strengths, but we need input on our weaknesses, right? So that we can make our weaknesses our strengths. So that's important, right? To realize that, hey, we can all learn from feedback. We can all learn from people inputting into our lives and helping us to become a better you, whatever that may be. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to minimize my PowerPoint, and I'm going to share with you a rubric that I use, and then just some examples of rubrics. Okay, so let's where we're at here. Okay, so here's one that I use in my medical office procedures class. Okay, so this has to do with an actual project that students are doing for me, and they are going to produce this paper and information, and they're going to actually do some demonstration, because they're actually trying to show us how what a day in the life of an office would be, a medical office would be, and from the beginning that we open the doors to the end when we close the doors, what's going on. And so you'll see here that there are, with the different chapters that we cover and go over, there are different expectations that the group would be able to demonstrate and discuss and talk about to the class that are observing this whole group effort and such, okay? And you'll see that there are points associated to the right and comments that I can make. So this is one example of a rubric. Let's go to, I'm going to do a class participation. This is a simple one, okay? So this one says here, and this is with Carnegie Mellon, which I've gotten a couple of those slides, a few of the slides that I cited coming from Carnegie Mellon, that school, and some of the professors that are inputting into giving examples of their rubrics, okay? So here we have class participation. So in A, getting all the points as possible, between 18 and 20 points. You attend class regularly and always contribute to the discussion by raising thoughtful questions, analyzing relevant issues, building on others' ideas, synthesizing across readings and discussions, expanding the class perspective, and appropriately challenging assumptions and perspective. It's a lot there, right? There's a lot that's expected of you if you're going to receive all of those points. But we've given you, your professor here, this professor for the history class, has given you, hey, if you do this, you'll get this. If you don't, so for a B, 16, 17 points, well, okay, attending class regularly and sometimes contributing to discussion in the aforementioned ways, in these ways that are described here. Or how about for a C for 14 to 15 points, right? Attends class regularly but rarely contributes to discussion. Or, right, here we have never contributing, right? So 0 points, right? So that's not good, right? You know, so we want to do all that we can to be in the A and the B range and do as well as possible. Really pursue the best possible grade you can. Does that mean an A all the time? Folks, I understand, you know, we have to do what we have to do, and some classes will do better than others, but really pursue excellence. This is what I tell my students, is that, you know, perfection, there's no perfection, folks, there is not, right? But excellence, right, that's important. Pursuing, doing the best that we possibly can. Do you want to go to someone as a doctor who did okay in school, or tried to do the best that they possibly could and pursued excellence in what they did as far as learning about the medical profession and how to take care of people? Well, I would want to go to that person, not the person who, you know, just did kind of half-hearted job. And that's who we should be and try to be, is people who pursue excellence in all that we do. You know, no matter what class it is that we're going to, try to pursue excellence. You know, really make that a goal for yourself. Let's just look at a couple more examples here. So here's a psychology. And so you'll see here, and I'm not going to read through it, but I just want to show you that. So interesting, right? So they're showing you here as far as point levels here. So you see here it says sophisticated 4 to 5 points, competent 2 to 3 points, needs work 0 to 1 point. Okay. As far as for this paper that you're doing for the psychology class, you're going to do an introduction. You're going to be involved in doing research, making a conclusion, and then the actual writing of the paper. Yeah, so you'll see here as far as the guidelines are set and given to you that you should follow as far as, well, is this going to be an excellent paper, a competent paper, you know, still BC range, or needs work? Ooh, yikes, that's a problem. Now, don't feel frustrated that if you get feedback that maybe there's some aspects of something that you've done that need work, because that's okay, because we're going to make the changes appropriately in order to be better and do better, do well. Right? That should make sense to us all, and that's important. And let's look at this last group here as far as for history. So again, so this is put in a little bit of a different way as far as you're seeing here. So essay and research paper for history. So this would be excellent, good, needs improvement, poor. Okay. And so you'll see here as far as the overall impression, the argument, evidence, counter evidence. So, you know, you're giving your pros and cons to an issue, and then sources and how you properly source, and the sources in your citation, how you use your sources and how you cite the sources that you've used properly. And know that in the ISC and in the library, they're very helpful as far as for the different types of MLA and APA, right? They're able to help us as students in order to make sure that you're citing your sources correctly and properly, and the ISC also giving instruction and helping as far as for putting that paper together. Okay. So, so that's our presentation, and kind of given a lot of information in a very short period of time. But what I want you to come away from is knowing and realizing that the rubric is something that can be very helpful to you. And it's important that you pay attention to it and follow the guidelines as well as possible If you have questions, speak to your instructor, speak to the ISC, speak to the library, come to one of us advisors, and we'll kind of give some input to you. But it's a matter of really using the rubric as a guide so that you can get the best possible grade that you can for this assignment, and eventually then helping you do very well for your class.
So Tony, I posted a question in the chat. How would you use the rubric to determine your expected grade before you turn in your paper? So that's a question for the students. So if one of the students would unmute themselves, or two or three, and just share how you'd use the rubric to determine your expected grade before you even turn your paper in. Your final grade shouldn't be a surprise.
Yes, it should be correct. It shouldn't be a surprise. That's right.
I would look through the points, like I would look at which section I want. Like I would go to the let me just read them. Like for example, I would go to the excellent column, and I would see if I appropriately addressed everything and followed along with what's listed in the rubric. I would try my best to see that I mentioned everything that's required of me.
Perfect. That is absolutely.
Excellent.
Tony, can you
Excellent.
add anything to that? I think she restated it perfectly. That was Dina.
Good job. Very good. Excellent.
And anyone add on to what Dina just shared? Tony, I didn't recall, I stepped away for a second, if you went over, and I believe Lisa talked about it a little bit, but plagiarism.
No, I didn't talk about that, but that's very important. Yeah, indeed, because really we want to be able to take the source material and learn from it and pull information from it, but not copy it exactly. That's, we want to be able to, when we're putting this paper together and such, we want to be able to learn from the source material and then put our own spin on it, our own, aspect of how we would, present this in material, how we would talk about this material, this information.
And I'll add, just along with Lisa in the library being a resource, the Instructional Support Center, the ISC, is also a resource where you can, if you're done in advance, you can upload your paper. You can schedule a tutoring appointment, like a writing consultation, and you can upload your paper, and a tutor will take a look at it. And they're not going to write your paper for you, but they will give you some tips and strategies to make sure that you have good flow, that your ideas are connecting, and that you've covered, what's expected in each of the components, like your introduction, the body of your paper, the conclusion. But certainly you want to take advantage of all the resources that you have. You can also tap one of your friends and say, hey, would you read my paper, like a peer review? Sometimes you'll read it and it sounds great, and you don't catch some of those small typos. You meant there THERE, but you type THEIR. And so a peer review, someone who reads it on your behalf, might catch some of those small details that might cost you some points if your professor is taking points off for grammar and spelling. Lisa, you look like you want to chime in.
So I did want to let you guys know that I kind of have prepared our sessions in advance for those. So I'll be going over not only the library stuff, but also plagiarism starting July 27th, and then August 3rd, again, we'll be going over APA, which is going to be about plagiarism, and then August 10th is going to be discussing the differences between quoting, paraphrasing, and actually summarizing research and how you cite all those things. So we will be discussing that within upcoming weeks. But if you need me to move up any of those to discuss it sooner rather than later, just let me know and I can do that.
Well, I can say the good news is, and Tony, you went over, the components of the paper that would align with the rubric, is that I believe that for the psychology course this summer, session C, Dr. Harrison does not have a term paper or a research paper at the end. There is a final exam, but there's no term paper. So you guys probably got off easy.
That makes me very sad.
I know. Even Sarah was saying too. She's like, what? No term paper. But certainly, you know, maybe we'll have some opportunities, even in your discussion board post, though, for psych. If you're referencing something from the textbook or from some of the readings that, you know, Dr. Harrison may assign, you want to make sure that you're using your APA style of citations and formatting, and that you put your in-text citation, what is it called? In-text, say it, Lisa.
In-text citation.
In-text citation, thank you. I was getting there.
It was also,
And your
it's also called
references at the end.
parenthetical citation.
Right. You'll impress your professor if you're going to, you know, do some citing and post your references within the context of your discussion board questions. It's great practice in preparation for a future term paper. So if you start now with some of the things that you're learning through the Summer Scholars Program and what Lisa and Dr. Perrone and Professor George will have taught you, then I think you'll be way ahead of the game come fall semester.
Definitely. So I want to say, I apologize, I have to head out. I'm going to be proctoring some exams, but I wanted to say good luck to you all. It was nice that you're all here today, and I enjoyed teaching this little seminar here, and I will be back tomorrow to do another one. So thank you, Tiffany. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Tony. Have a
Bye,
great
guys.
rest of the afternoon.
Take care, guys. Take care.
Bye-bye. Well, the good news for the rest of you, I'm going to make myself the presenter now.
That's the good news?
Well, that is the good news, because we are 30 minutes ahead of schedule. So because Tony only needed about 30 minutes for his session. And what am I doing right now? Right now, we are doing a choices workshop. And so just in terms of choices, we all, you know, every day we're all making decisions, we make choices. But I thought today would be a great day because we are second week of the program. Will within the next 21 days, 21 to 30 days, the calendar that I have here is 30 days. But I want everyone to think about a habit or something they want to do differently. There was something I had. Let me see. I don't know if I can find it. So there's this 21-day planner challenge. And what this whole choices exercise will do, and I've attached the documents to today's calendar for the meeting appointment. So you can download and copy them, or you can just write it down like if you're just journaling for the next 21 days. But I would like for everyone to make a commitment to identify at least one thing that they want to change. Either you want to stop doing, you want to replace it. Some good ideas here are, you know, if you want to eat more healthy, so you want to stop your unhealthy snacking and eat healthy snacks. You can, if you're eating out regularly, spending money on going for takeout, you know, you want to be able to maybe make healthy meals at home and save some money, you know, if that's something that you're into. If you're doing a lot of television watching and maybe not enough reading, and right now you started your psych course and you've gone through Cengage and you know how to get access to your textbook, maybe you want to spend a little bit more time reading and preparing for your classes. Again, some of us are couch potatoes, right? And so if you're sitting all day, just lounging, chilling out, hot outside, you don't want to go out, find a way to get moving, get some exercise in. Another example here is, and I don't know, am I sharing my screen? Everybody can see my screen? Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you. If you are not getting that work-life balance in, if you're struggling with that and you want to make that a priority over the next 30 days or next 21 days, being able to journal some of the things that you're doing to try and balance that out. If that's using a time management grid or just having a friend remind you that, hey, you need to take it down, maybe find, 30 minutes every day to do something that just brings joy to your life. That could be listening to music, taking a walk, taking a nap, talking to a friend on the phone, but being able to come up with something that will allow you to find that peaceful moment. If you're staying up late, I don't know about you, but I can raise my hand high. I am a night owl. Sometimes maybe I'll get 45 minutes of sleep or 2 hours of sleep. So I do have terrible sleeping habits. I'm pretty exhausted even right now, but I just keep pushing through. But I know that is one thing that I can certainly work on, having a better sleeping habit so that I can get the proper rest that I need. Just in general, if you're just in all over the place, we all have a friend who is all over the place, never seems focused, and or a family member, and they're always, spinning their wheels, but never seemingly getting anything done. So if that is you and you want to get on top of your tasks and make things happen for yourself in a more productive way, that might be something you want to focus on. So I'd love to see if you would post in the chat some of your thoughts around what your goals will be for this new 21-day challenge. And in terms of what this, if it's a habit that you want to break or a good habit that you want to start, if you can post in the chat, what you'd like to focus on, and maybe we'll talk about, just for a few minutes, why it's important to you. So I will post mine. I think I hit mine right on the head.
That's actually why I was late today, because I went to bed at 5:30.
Okay. So
like,
maybe you're right there with me, Madison, and needing to just be able to, know when to just shut it down and go to bed, because I'll just keep going until I fall asleep with my laptop on my lap.
I feel like I have a priorities list, and me staying up late is not, the worst I have. Like, for instance, we had a term project for philosophy. It was, I think, assigned 4 weeks ago. Like, it eventually, oh my God, I'm in the restroom. I just finished brushing my teeth, and I'm looking at myself in the mirror. It's okay. You can be vain. And I started it and finished it the day it was due.
Okay.
So last night, it's bad. It's bad. Procrastination is killer. I could speak for a lot of people. You could be a grade A student, but procrastination will most definitely kill your GPA. Again, high. I learned from past
I would say that put one either, if it's going to be getting more rest or time management or procrastination, go ahead and put that in the chat. Just over the next 21 days, I want each of us, and I'm going to do it too, to really focus on one thing that we're going to do differently, because the definition of insanity is continuing to do the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So if I never get the proper rest that I need, I'm going to always be, maybe just lack patience, or just be dragging, not, my normal bubbly self. But certainly it looks like we've got a lot of good ones. We got another procrastinating, healthy eating, time management, living healthier, less social media. Okay, we know that's an issue for some. I've got get more rest. We've got Attempt to study, watch videos during work to keep my mind focused on school. Healthier lifestyle. Improve study, more efficiency. Let's see, more social media, just trying to get that, remove some of those distractions. Dedicated time for study and getting your assignments done on time. I tell you, I have something that I need to do. So when I get off this call, I'm going to be like you, Madison, churning out a paper that was due last night that I didn't get done, but I stayed up all night. And so it happens to the best of us. And Lisa, are you still on the call?
I'm here.
Well, I'm sure that you can attest to being super organized, with your doctoral studies and, balancing work and writing papers and doing your discussion board questions. It's a challenge, but it can be done.
It can, and it really, especially if you have online classes, which is what I'm used to, it takes a special amount of determination because it's different from having to go to a class twice a week where you have a certain expectation of your schedule every week. With online classes, you have things due usually at the end of the week, and so you tend to put them off, and you have to be able to be disciplined with yourself. You have to. And sometimes we're going to be, Rose is actually going to do something on time management in a couple of weeks or so. But you really have to, at the beginning, when you're starting to get used to it, do a daily schedule for yourself. Give yourself time for food, sleep, recreation, but you still have to have time, like specific studying and homework time. And once you create a schedule for yourself for like maybe a month, it starts to get more natural. And you start to have these breaks in your days, and it's so easy to get to be tempted to do something else. Like I constantly get questions like, "Do you want to go for a drive? Do you want to go get ice cream?" Things like that. And I'm like, "No, I have to work." And I when I started my PhD program, I decided to be in a place of no, which is I have a tendency when people ask me to do things or they ask me for favors, I'm like usually the first person to say yes. And especially at work, I was doing so much extracurricular type of activity at the school, like fundraisers and things like that, that I had to learn to be in a place of no. And that includes when people ask me if I want to go out and do something, I'm like, no, I have to get this done. And that sounds horrible, right? It sounds like no, you should be positive. No is not a positive word. But for me and my work and my education and my family, being in a place of no allowed me to be able to organize my time so I can get all of it done. So I have never let's see, I've been in my PhD program for about 3 or 4 years, and I have never turned in an assignment late.
Ooh, well, I'm on the brink of turning in one late right now, so there you go.
I have turned in discussion boards late. I have done that once or twice, but I have never turned in an assignment late. And I've had health problems. God knows it seems like every year I'm in the hospital for a certain amount of time. Twice this year I've been in the hospital. I'm always having various things going on in my life. Gosh, my family drama and all that stuff, and working full time. So it got to the point where, if I can turn in all my assignments on time, that's when I know I'm in the right place. So I start my assignments early. I kind of figure out, like you, I'm kind of on a weekly plan. So I have a weekly reading, weekly assignments, weekly due dates. And so I start on Monday and I start reading over everything. And then on Tuesday, I'm reading over the assignments. And then on Wednesday, I'm writing my discussion board posts so that by Friday, I can respond to other people's discussion board posts. And in the meantime, I'm also working on the assignments. So once you get the ebb and flow, you can really get into it, but you have to be willing. And procrastination kills all of us. God knows there are times where I don't want to do anything but like just lay around and watch TV. But I have that in my schedule too. So, from 6 to 9 at night is my lay around and watch TV time, and I play my video games and everything else during that time. So you can make it work, but you have to be willing to put in the time to organize and keep yourself on task. Yep. And it's only up to you. Nobody else can do that for you. Nobody can do that for you. You can only do it for yourself. So if you're not willing to do it for yourself, you're going to continue to have like problems.
Now, how many of you can attest that you set aside the time, but you underestimate how much time it really takes? And you think, oh, I can get it done in 2 hours, but it really takes you 5.
Me.
Oh my God, yes. And
Oh my
I
God.
mean, it's not just you, it's all of us. So however much time you think it's going to take you, if you believe it's going to take you 2 hours, set aside at least double that. And I would say, you know, within that double time, you still need to work in a 10-minute break here or there, because you just can't sit for 4 hours straight and just crank out a paper or do your reading. You have to give yourself a few little, you know, moments to stretch, you know, to walk around, to just, you know, check your phone real quick, but be disciplined enough to get right back to it. But I think that that's one of the things that we all have a tendency of doing, is just underestimating how much time it's going to take. And then that deadline hits you and you're like, oh no, it's 11:55, and boom, you've missed the deadline. For some of you, your assignment will close. You won't even be able to post because your professor won't accept late assignments. Or now that it's late, you lose 5 percentage points or 5 points on your grade because it goes in late. So really determining a schedule and how much time you're going to need. I think this first week, you've just only started your class on Thursday, but for most of you, just in those few short days, you've discovered that, yeah, it takes a little bit longer than I thought to do that discussion board question. And if I need to post at least 2 to 2 people, you know, it's going to take me maybe half an hour or an hour for each one if I want to put or, you know, post something that's substantive, just not fluff. You know, Professor George was talking about kind of all that fluff that you can throw in there just to get a word count. But if you want it to be really substantive, you want to take the time to just dig into the material and go a little bit deeper. So with that said, this first thing that I have on the screen, if you don't print this out, just write it down on a piece of paper, and over the next 21 days, I want you to monitor, and we're going to have little check-ins. We're all going to do check-ins. Maybe, what is today, Monday? We'll do our first check-in on Thursday. That means that we'll have 3 full days where we will have hopefully maintained our own accountability and good habits and stuck to the commitment that we're making in terms of the goal of our habit. And Lisa and Barbara, I, challenge you to join us in this, because we all have, areas of our lives that we want to improve. And when you start to falter, or, find yourself in a space where you're not sticking to it, just remind yourself reasons why you can do it. I can do it because, I deserve this. I'm worthy. I need the help, and then that whole notion of a motivation check. When you find yourself faltering, are you in that meh whatever field? You need to drive yourself back into the eye of the tiger field. You need to know that if you can stick to this over the next 21 days, whatever it is that you choose, and this is what makes this so nice, is you're going to figure out what you want to do. It's your choice. Now, no one's choosing for you. So that way you can make sure that you're able to stick to it. And just know that if you fall off a day, 2 days, you just want to make the appropriate adjustment so you can get back on track. This is all about self-discipline, self-motivation. Okay, this whole week we're doing self-assessments, if you can just see the theme where we're going. And I wanted us to start this off with our own focused activity and goal that we can monitor over the next 21 days. And at the bottom of this, you can see that there's a countdown to your success. You can determine what your own reward is going to be. It's your goal. It should be your reward. So when you get to the end of your 21 days, whatever that goal is for you, if I'm choosing to, manage my sleeping a little bit better, I know that I'll feel more rested. I'll have more energy. Those are just going to be some natural results from the change that I'm going to make. But I don't know what I want my reward to be yet. So I'm going to think about that. And on Thursday, we're going to talk about, kind of the rewards that you've established for yourself and if you've managed to stay on track for the last 3 days. Fair enough?
Tiffany,
Yes.
how would you make like a plan for like not procrastinating, basically do all my assignments early?
Well, early is good, but you need to have like a schedule. And Lisa, could you attack that for her? My doorbell just rang. I just got to run to the doorbell.
Ooh, I hope it's Amazon with a package.
No,
They're
it's
the
not
best.
Amazon. It's the people to make sure bugs don't come in my house.
Oh, you have people who do that? I have shoes that do that. Anyway, so to answer your question, what I would recommend doing is give yourself deadlines. Not the deadlines you have in class, but personal deadlines. So say your discussion board is due on Sunday night. Tell yourself you want to get it done by Thursday. And so schedule out the time. But like I said, it's about literally physically making yourself a schedule to begin with until you kind of get the hang of it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And literally, like I said, it's a physical schedule. Like you put Monday, 7:20, wake up 10 a.m. to be in class, and just make your schedule and try to even schedule a bedtime. So oh, Sarah, that's awesome. I actually have my Fitness Pal too. I have lost about 30 pounds over the last year and a half, just by exercising and changing my eating. So I totally understand. My problem is I have a hard time doing core exercises at home because it's easier just not. So that's my motivation issue. Okay, anyway, so back to the question. Make a calendar, and if you're the kind of person that has a hard time going to sleep early, again, that should be on your schedule too. In bed by such and such time. And one of the things about sleeping and like being a night owl is that you're usually 9 times out of 10, technology is going to be your downfall. So if you're the kind of person that ends up laying in bed for hours at a time looking at your phone or whatever, that's going to prevent you from sleeping because that keeps your mind awake and active. So you have to literally take the phone and put it somewhere else and not use it at least a half hour before you want to go to bed, because studies are showing that our being on the phone before going to bed is actually what's keeping us awake. Okay, and you have to make a commitment. I'm going to be in my bed, off my phone and technology for a half hour before the time I want to fall asleep. And it'll start to happen. Then you'll be able to wake up earlier and you will have more energy. I am the kind of person, and this doesn't work for everybody, but for me, I'm a very scheduled person. So I have, and I found that it works best for me and my body because I have some different health issues. And I have a lot of anxiety. And if I don't get enough sleep and stuff like that, then my anxiety goes really, really through the roof. And so what I have learned is that I have to literally have a schedule for like sleeping, and it's very important to me because one of my biggest sources of anxiety is not getting enough sleep. So then if I think I'm not going to get enough sleep, and then I'm going to be cranky the next day, and you don't want to see me cranky. It's really bad. Okay, so I know I'm going to be cranky the next day. So then I start to get anxious about not getting enough sleep because I'm going to be cranky, and then everybody's going to hate me because I'm really cranky, and sometimes I can't hold it in, and then the anxiety just builds and builds and builds and builds. Anybody else have anxiety like that, where you just start going down the coast on that rock just keeps rolling and your brain just keeps on going? So by putting together a schedule, that allows me to have less anxiety because I know, okay, I'm going to do this at this time, so I'm going to get it done. And then I found once I started doing that my anxiety about school, my anxiety about work, my anxiety about my body, because when the gyms were open, I went every day after work. I went to the gym. That was my routine. Right, Tiffany? every day.
Every day.
I would go right to the gym. I would work out, go home, eat, have my veg time, and then start the next day. I have found that by having that schedule, my anxiety is so much less. It's like a different person. You know, I'm not constantly having anxiety attacks and freaking out and having problems breathing because I know I've scheduled it in my mind of when it's all going to happen, so it all gets taken care of. So if any of you suffer from anxiety, try the scheduling idea because it really, really, really can work for you. Because a lot of our anxiety comes from not knowing or not understanding or being afraid of not completing something or not getting something done. And it causes our anxiety just to boil up to the point that you're like, the room is spinning and you have to sit down and you're like, holy shit, I'm going to puke. All that stuff happens, right? So, you know, the way to really deal with that is making sure you have your priorities in life within your schedule so that you don't have to start worrying about that because you already know, hey, on Wednesday, I'm going to do this, so I don't have to worry about it because that's the time I'm going to.
I think, Lisa, just to add
and
on.
I will say that one thing.
I think her connectivity must have wonked out on her. She'll call back in. But what I was going to add to what she was saying in terms of just that whole notion of feeling overwhelmed and having a little bit of anxiety, again, you have to be mindful of your mindfulness. You know, you need to take some time to unwind, to schedule some time even for, you know, just a little breather, whatever that is for you. And then get yourself back on track, because all work and no play, you know, kind of creates this frenzy in your life. And certainly you have more than just school, you have family, you have your friends. We talked about some of this stuff last week, all of your competing priorities. So again, with this 21-day new habit that we're all going to be focusing on, make sure you work in some time to just plan to have some self-care, some me time. And for any of you who are, you know, caregivers, you have to take care of a younger sibling, or you have children, or you might even need to, you know, check in on your parents or grandparents. You know, it takes a lot when you're spending that kind of time taking care of others, and then you often neglect yourself. So I just want all of us to be mindful that our own self-care is as important as the amount of care that we give to our loved ones. Okay. I'm going to scroll down. If you print this out, there is a 30-day calendar down here. So if you want to print it out, you know, you can use the bottom of the other handout to check off the days, or you can put some big X's on these. But whatever visual tool or on your phone, whatever is going to help you to just stay on task. So that way we can all celebrate the victory in 21 days. So are there any questions about this choice activity that we're going to be doing? No, no, no. All right, awesome, awesome. So question, did you all open your workshop in a box?
I did not get it.
Oh, yours is coming in the mail. Yours is coming in the mail. Yours was mailed out
Hers is coming in the mail.
Friday.
Thank you.
And I'm trying to see. Oh, you may have noticed that Nanama and Carla were not with us today. And so unfortunately, because on campus we don't have any other student workers on our payroll, I was unable to retain them and working with us as paid peer mentors for this summer. And so if they pop in, they're popping in because they're volunteering, okay? And so hopefully we'll be able to do something for them in the fall. But at this time, we're not having any of our student workers on payroll, so they won't be with us like they were, during our sessions. But they may pop in for an alumni session, and to maybe moderate an alumni session, or to come in as current students. We'll have a current student panel at some point. But in your workshop in a box, and Madison, I hope I'm going to follow up with our Dean of Operations to see when, if I can track your package to see when you should receive it, because you'll notice that there was a couple puzzle-like things in there. There were some things that you were probably like, what the heck is this? It was like a car air freshener. I have plans for all of that stuff. So for any of the edible items in the box, you can feel free to eat that, share that, do whatever you want with any of the edibles. That was just, some snacks in there that I wanted to include for all of you. But for the other things, I think I even put a selfie stick in there, whenever we're doing, because I can't see you. And maybe this was in my mind. I didn't even know we were going to have connectivity issues with everyone being on at the same time. But, I'm the worst selfie taker ever, so I need a selfie stick. But you all have a selfie stick. So on the days when we're on our calls, if you're taking pictures of yourself, email them to me. I'll give you the email. You can just email them to eofp@warren.edu. I'll type them in here. And sometimes we'll have some contests or something like that where you'll, submit a picture, whether you use your selfie stick or not. I just thought that was a nice little, kind of tool to assist those of us who have short arms, maybe, to do those pictures. But we will be utilizing some of the things in the box, but I'll give you a heads up beforehand so that you have it handy for the workshop session. Looks like the guard's about to hit a dead zone, but if there are no other questions, tomorrow.
I do have a question.
You have a question. Go ahead.
I don't want to sound bougie, but I live in like a less than neighborhood at the moment. So there's a very high likelihood of me getting robbed. So if that happens and my box goes missing, because they usually drop it at the door, they don't knock, they put it at the end of the curb. Like that. Could I just go to Walmart and get said supplies? If I could just like get a list from you.
Well, let me get the tracking information, okay? And so that way, if we know just based on the tracking when it's likely to arrive, you can keep a close eye out. How about that?
I'm right? Very serious. Like
no, I hear you, but I just want to make sure that hopefully your package will arrive safely. But let me get that tracking information, and that'll be something that you can use and monitor, so that way you know when it's gonna come. Okay.
So I can just wait outside and mad dog everybody that tries to walk by my house.
Right, and take your goodies.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll work on that. Tomorrow we're gonna do, I'm not sure if we're gonna do the Noel Levitt's assessment. Let me see. Tomorrow, Dr. Perone's gonna present at 11. And know your campus resources. I guess I'm gonna do that. And then, have you all received the sign up for the fall information session? Let me see.
For EOF?
No, the fall information session for just a general college student on campus.
No.
Yeah, because our information sessions were totally different than the college's information sessions. So let me see where that is.
Is there one coming up on the 21st?
Yes, it is on the 21st. I'm finding it now. So if you go to the home page on the college website, so I'll go back. I'm sharing my screen. See, I'm on the home page and I'm scrolling down to the announcements in this area, fall information sessions. I need for all of you to click here in the fall information session and go and just click on the July 21st sign up here. And it starts at 2 o'clock. So on the 21st, we are blocked for that session from 2 to 2:30. His session usually only runs for half an hour. So I need you all to go and sign up for the session today for the 21st. And tomorrow, we can start actually at 11 o'clock. If everybody's good with that, type yes in the chat if you're good with that.
Yes.
11, 11, 11.
I'm
All
sorry,
right, I don't know. Lisa, you're still on the call. It's 11 o'clock tomorrow.
Warren, I missed that. Will you please repeat it?
I said tomorrow, instead of starting at 10 o'clock, we'll start at 11 o'clock with Dr. Perrone's session on how to use my Warren advising sheets. He's going to walk us through how to use the advising sheet. So that way, when you meet with your advisor or myself or Dr. Perrone or Professor George, you'll know what your degree requirements are so that you can be on track for graduation in 2 years. Okay? And then we'll go to lunch and we'll do a little, I've got to figure this out, Know Your Campus Resources scavenger hunt.
Yay.
Yeah,
that's
I got to figure that out. Lisa, maybe
How are
you
we
can
gonna
have
do
some
that
ideas.
virtually?
I think I have something that I did with FYE that you might be able to use. So let me look.
That we can do virtually?
I'm gonna check. That's what I'm gonna check on, whether or not it
Okay.
can be done virtually.
All right, and then I'll have a prize for that that activity, and then that will just roll right into Jeremy's fall information session. So please, please, please go to the home page and just click on the fall information session and fill out your information and submit it and plan to attend tomorrow. So that way you can get the general information that all students are receiving that are coming in as new students in the fall.
So this information session is not for returning students?
The information session, it's just for students who are registered to attend in the fall. So I would say it doesn't matter if you're returning or brand new.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. My final is Thursday. Oh, gross. Oh, I just looked at my schedule. I'm sad.
Well, now's a good time to start planning. Let's see what Thursday brings us. Thursday. Actually, on Thursday, we have some study blocks. So in the afternoon, there'll be some time where you won't be in session. So you'll have additional time on Thursday.
Thank you.
Good enough. And that was just by design. Actually, there's a study block scheduled on Wednesday too. So
Oh, good. I need that one actually.
And I've blocked in some study time just because we're all trying to get a good handle on what our flow is, you know, what that schedule is going to look like in terms of getting our assignments done and how much time you're really going to need. So all I ask once you get off the call today is just go and register for the information session. If you don't get registered for it today, I'll be able to check with Jeremy to see who's registered, and then I'll make sure you're registered tomorrow morning before we go to lunch.
We're supposed to schedule for it tomorrow at 2 p.m., right?
2 p.m., yes.
Yes.
The 2 o'clock
Okay.
session. Yep.
Thank you.
Should I put that in the chat? Let's see. WCCC fall info session, July 21st, Tuesday at 2 p.m. Okay. All right, then I will bring today's session to a close. Thank you all for your attendance once again. Hopefully you found today to be quite productive, and we will be on tomorrow. What time? Can somebody tell me what time tomorrow?
11.
11 a.m. There's going to be one person that's going to log on at 10 o'clock, but we'll be back at 11, okay?
Got it.
All right, everybody. Have a great rest of the day. Get to work. I'm going to start working on my paper.
You too. Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, everybody's off.